Dale and Gardens Corner. The storm may intensify. Be certain to monitor local radio and TV stations as well as local cable TV outlets for additional information and possible warnings from the National Weather Service. Report damage directly to the Charleston National Weather Service at 1-888-383-2024 when it is safe to do so. You can also email your report to nws.charleston@noaa.gov. The National Weather Service in Charleston has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for portions of Screven County in southeastern Georgia, Allendale County in southeastern South Carolina, until 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. At 4:47 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, a severe thunderstorm was located 13 miles west of Allendale, moving northeast at 40 miles an hour. Hazard, 60 miles an hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. Source, radar indicated. Impact, minor hail damage to vehicles is possible. Expect wind damage to trees and power lines. Locations impacted include Allendale, Sycamore, Ulmer, Siegeling, Millet, Martin, Appleton, and Burton's Ferry Landing. For your protection, move to an interior room on the lowest floor of a building. Report damage directly to the Charleston National Weather Service at 1-888-383-2024 when it is safe to do so. A severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect until 5:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Hampton and Allendale counties. At 4:52 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, a severe thunderstorm was located 9 miles southwest of Lake Warrant State Park, moving northeast at 30 miles an hour. Hazard, golf ball-size hail and 60 miles an hour wind gusts. Source, radar indicated. Impact, people and animals outdoors will be injured. Expect hail damage to roofs, siding, windows, and vehicles. Expect wind damage to trees and power lines. Locations impacted include Hampton, Lake Warrant State Park, Barnwell, Aiken, Brunson, Gifford, Luray, and Lena. A tornado watch remains in effect for the warned area. Tornadoes can develop quickly from severe thunderstorms. Although a tornado is not immediately likely, if one is spotted, act quickly and move to a place of safety inside a sturdy structure, such as a basement or small interior room. For your protection, move to an interior room on the lowest floor of a building. Report damage directly to the Charleston National Weather Service at 1-888-383-2024 when it is safe to do so. The National Weather Service has issued Tornado Watch number 9, effective until 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This watch includes the following counties in South Carolina: Allendale, Bamberg, Beaufort, Colleton, Hampton, and Jasper, and the following: coastal waters from Edisto Beach, South Carolina to Savannah, Georgia out 20 nautical miles, and coastal waters from Savannah, Georgia to Altamaha Sound, Georgia out 20 nautical miles, including Gray's Reef National Marine Sanctuary. Remember, a tornado watch means the conditions are favorable for the development of severe weather, including tornadoes, large hail, and damaging winds, in and close to the watch area. While severe weather may not be imminent, persons should remain alert for rapidly changing weather conditions and listen for later statements and possible warnings. Stay tuned to NOAA Weather Radio, commercial radio and television outlets, or internet sources for the latest severe weather information. The 24-hour forecast for the listening area. Tonight, showers and thunderstorms this evening, then a chance of showers after midnight. Some thunderstorms may be severe with damaging winds and tornadoes. Locally heavy rainfall possible this evening. Lows in the lower 50s. Southwest winds 15 to 20 miles an hour, becoming west 10 to 15 miles an hour after midnight. Chance of rain near 100%. Monday, partly sunny. Highs around 60. Less humid. Northwest winds 10 to 15 miles an hour. You're listening to NOAA Weather Radio Station WXJ-23 in Beaufort. We are currently in severe weather operations. Many of our normal forecasts will not be played so that we may bring you the latest severe weather information. Normal programming will resume once all severe weather warnings have ended. The current local time is 5:02 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The National Weather Service in Charleston has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for portions of Screven County in southeastern Georgia, Allendale County in southeastern South Carolina, until 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. At 4:47 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, a severe thunderstorm was located 13 miles west of Allendale, moving northeast at 40 miles an hour. Hazard, 60 miles an hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. Source, radar indicated. Impact, minor hail damage to vehicles is possible. Expect wind damage to trees and power lines. Locations impacted include Allendale, Sycamore, Omer, Siegeling, Millet. A severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect until 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Allendale County. At 5:02 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, a severe thunderstorm was located near Allendale, moving northeast at 40 miles an hour. Hazard, 60 miles an hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. Source, radar indicated. Impact, minor hail damage to vehicles is possible. Expect wind damage to trees and power lines. Locations impacted include Allendale, Sycamore, Omer, Siegeling, Millet, Martin, and Appleton. Increased rotation has been detected and a tornado warning may be needed. Remain alert for a possible tornado. Tornadoes can develop quickly from severe thunderstorms. If you spot a tornado, take shelter in a closet, bathroom, or small central room in a sturdy structure. For your protection, move to an interior room on the lowest floor of a building. Report damage directly to the Charleston National Weather Service at 1-888-383-2024 when it is safe to do so. A severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect until 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Allendale County. At 5:02 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, a severe thunderstorm was located near Allendale, moving northeast at 40 miles an hour. Hazard, 60 miles an hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. Source, radar indicated. Impact, minor hail damage to vehicles is possible. Expect wind damage to trees and power lines. Locations impacted include Allendale, Sycamore, Omer, Siegeling, Millet, Martin, and Appleton. Increased rotation has been detected and a tornado warning may be needed. Remain alert for a possible tornado. Tornadoes can develop quickly from severe thunderstorms. If you spot a tornado, take shelter in a closet, bathroom, or small central room in a sturdy structure. For your protection, move to an interior room on the lowest floor of a building. Report damage directly to the Charleston National Weather Service at 1-888-383-2024 when it is safe to do so. The National Weather Service has issued Tornado Watch number 9, effective until 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This watch includes the following counties in South Carolina: Allendale, Bamberg, Beaufort, Colleton, Hampton, and Jasper, and the following coastal waters from Edisto Beach, South Carolina to Savannah. The National Weather Service in Columbia has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for southeastern Barnwell County in central South Carolina, Bamberg County in central South Carolina, until 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. At 5:04 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, a severe thunderstorm was located over Appleton, or 11 miles south of Barnwell, moving east at 40 miles an hour. Hazard, 60 miles an hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. Source, radar indicated. Impact, hail damage to vehicles is expected. Expect wind damage to roofs, siding, and trees. Locations impacted include Rivers Bridge State Park, Earhart, Uller, Klein, and Govan. Remain alert for a possible tornado. Conditions are favorable for tornadoes to form, sometimes with little or no advance warning. Move to an interior room or closet on the lowest floor of a sturdy building. For your protection, seek shelter inside a sturdy building and stay away from windows. The National Weather Service has issued Tornado Watch number 9, effective until 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This watch includes the following counties in South Carolina: Allendale, Bamberg, Beaufort, Colleton, Hampton, and Jasper, and the following coastal waters from Edisto Beach, South Carolina to Savannah, Georgia, out 20 nautical miles, and coastal waters from Savannah, Georgia to Altamaha Sound, Georgia out 20 nautical miles, including Gray's Reef National Marine Sanctuary. Remember, a tornado watch means the conditions are favorable for the development of severe weather, including tornadoes, large hail and damaging winds, in and close to the watch area. While severe weather may not be imminent, persons should remain alert for rapidly changing weather conditions and listen for later statements and possible warnings. Stay tuned to NOAA Weather Radio, commercial radio and television outlets, or internet sources for the latest severe weather information. You're listening to NOAA Weather Radio Station WXJ-23 in Beaufort. We are currently in severe weather operations. Many of our normal forecasts will not be played so that we may bring you the latest severe weather information. Normal programming will resume once all severe weather warnings have ended. The current local time is 5:08 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The severe thunderstorm warning for Allendale County is canceled. The immediate risk for severe weather has ended. A severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect until 5:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Hampton County. At 5:07 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, a severe thunderstorm was located over Lake Warrant State Park, moving northeast at 35 miles an hour. Hazard, ping-pong ball-size hail and 60 miles an hour wind gusts. Source, radar indicated. Impact, people and animals outdoors will be injured. Expect hail damage to roofs, siding, windows, and vehicles. Expect wind damage to trees and power lines. Locations impacted include Hampton, Lake Warrant State Park, Barnwell, Aiken, Gifford, Lurie, Lena, and Cummings. A tornado watch remains in effect for the warned area. Tornadoes can develop quickly from severe thunderstorms. Although a tornado is not immediately likely, if one is spotted, act quickly and move to a place of safety inside a sturdy structure, such as a basement or small interior room. For your protection, move to an interior room on the lowest floor of a building. Report damage directly to the Charleston National Weather Service at 1-888-383-2024 when it is safe to do so. The National Weather Service in Columbia has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for Southeastern Barnwell County in central South Carolina, Bamberg County in central South Carolina, until 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. At 5:04 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, a severe thunderstorm was located over Appleton, or 11 miles south of Barnwell, moving east at 40 miles an hour. Hazard, 60 miles an hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. Source, radar indicated. Impact, hail damage to vehicles is expected. Expect wind damage to roofs, siding, and trees. Locations impacted include Rivers Bridge State Park, Earhart, Uller, Klein, and Govan. Remain alert for a possible tornado. Conditions are favorable for tornadoes to form, sometimes with little or no advance warning. Move to an interior room or closet on the lowest floor of a sturdy building. For your protection, seek shelter inside a sturdy building and stay away from windows. A severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect until 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Allendale County. At 5:02 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, a severe thunderstorm was located near Allendale, moving northeast at 40 miles an hour. Hazard, 60 miles an hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. Source, radar indicated. Impact, minor hail damage to vehicles is possible. Expect wind damage to trees and power lines. Locations impacted include Allendale, Sycamore, Ulmer, Siegeling, Millet, Martin, and Appleton. Increased rotation has been detected and a tornado warning may be needed. Remain alert for a possible tornado. Tornadoes can develop quickly from severe thunderstorms. If you spot a tornado, take shelter in a closet, bathroom, or small central room in a sturdy structure. For your protection, move to an interior room on the lowest floor of a building. Report damage directly to the Charleston National Weather Service at 1-888-383-2024 when it is safe to do so. The severe thunderstorm warning for Allendale County is canceled. The immediate risk for severe weather has ended. A severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect until 5:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Hampton County. At 5:07 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, a severe thunderstorm was located over Lake Warrant State Park, moving northeast at 35 miles an hour. Hazard, ping pong ball size hail and 60 miles an hour wind gusts. Source, radar indicated. Impact, people and animals outdoors will be injured. Expect hail damage to roofs, siding, windows, and vehicles. Expect wind damage to trees and power lines. Locations impacted include Hampton, Lake Warrant State Park, Barnwell, Aiken, Gifford, Lurie, Lena, and Cummings. A tornado watch remains in effect for the warned area. Tornadoes can develop quickly from severe thunderstorms. Although a tornado is not immediately likely, if one is spotted, act quickly and move to a place of safety inside a sturdy structure, such as a basement or small interior room. For your protection, move to an interior room on the lowest floor of a building. Report damage directly to the Charleston National Weather Service at 1-888-383-2024 when it is safe to do so. The National Weather Service has issued Tornado Watch number 9, effective until 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This watch includes the following counties in South Carolina: Allendale, Bamberg, Beaufort, Colleton, Hampton, and Jasper, and the following: coastal waters from Edgefield Beach, South Carolina to Savannah, Georgia out 20 nautical miles, and coastal waters from Savannah, Georgia to Altamaha Sound, Georgia out 20 nautical miles, including Gray's Reef National Marine Sanctuary. Remember, a tornado watch means the conditions are favorable for the development of severe weather, including tornadoes, large hail, and damaging winds, in and close to the watch area. While severe weather may not be imminent, persons should remain alert for rapidly changing weather conditions and listen for later statements and possible warnings. Stay tuned to NOAA Weather Radio, commercial radio and television outlets, or internet sources for the latest severe weather information. You're listening to NOAA Weather Radio Station WXJ-23 in Beaufort. We are currently in severe weather operations. Many of our normal forecasts will not be played so that we may bring you the latest severe weather information. Normal programming will resume once all severe weather warnings have ended. The current local time is 5:14 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is a special weather statement. Strong thunderstorms will impact portions of Beaufort and Colleton counties. At 5:08 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, National Weather Service Doppler radar indicated a strong thunderstorm near Green Pond, or 12 miles east of Genesee, moving northeast at 40 miles an hour. Hazard, strong winds 45 to 55 miles an hour and up to penny-sized hail. Impact, expect minor damage to tree limbs and blowing around of light, unsecured objects. Minor hail damage to plants, trees, and crops is possible. Damage to windshields is unlikely. Some locations in the path of the storm include Jacksonboro, Ashepoo, Green Pond, Ritter, and Whitehall. Report damage directly to the Charleston National Weather Service at 1-888-383-2024 when it is safe to do so. You can also email your report to nws.charleston@noaa.gov. The 24-hour forecast for the listening area. Tonight, showers and thunderstorms this evening, then a chance of showers after midnight. Some thunderstorms may be severe with damaging winds and tornadoes. Locally heavy rainfall possible this evening. Lows in the lower 50s. Southwest winds 15 to 20 miles an hour, becoming west 10 to 15 miles an hour after midnight. Chance of rain near 100%. Monday, partly sunny. Highs around 60. Less humid. Northwest winds 10 to 15 miles an hour. The National Weather Service in Columbia has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for Southeastern Barnwell County in central South Carolina, Bamberg County in central South Carolina, until 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. At 5:04 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, a severe thunderstorm was located over Appleton, or 11 miles south of Barnwell, moving east at 40 miles an hour. Hazard, 60 miles an hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. Source, radar indicated. Impact, hail damage to vehicles is expected. Expect wind damage to roofs, siding, and trees. Locations impacted include Rivers Bridge State Park, Earhart, Oler, Klein, and Govan. Remain alert for a possible tornado. Conditions are favorable for tornadoes to form, sometimes with little or no advance warning. Move to an interior room or closet on the lowest floor of a sturdy building. For your protection, seek shelter inside a sturdy building and stay away from windows. A severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect until 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Allendale County. At 5:02 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, a severe thunderstorm was located near Allendale, moving northeast at 40 miles an hour. Hazard, 60 miles an hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. Source, radar indicated. Impact, minor hail damage to vehicles is possible. Expect wind damage to trees and power lines. Locations impacted include Allendale, Sycamore, Ulmer, Siegeling, Millet, Martin, and Appleton. Increased rotation has been detected and a tornado warning may be needed. Remain alert for a possible tornado. Tornadoes can develop quickly from severe thunderstorms. If you spot a tornado, take shelter in a closet, bathroom, or small central room in a sturdy structure. For your protection, move to an interior room on the lowest floor of a building. Report damage directly to the Charleston National Weather Service at 1-888-383-2024 when it is safe to do so. The severe thunderstorm warning for Allendale County is canceled. The immediate risk for severe weather has ended. The National Weather Service has issued Tornado Watch number 9, effective until 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This watch includes the following counties in South Carolina: Allendale, Bamberg, Beaufort, Colleton, Hampton, and Jasper, and the following: coastal waters from Edgefield Beach, South Carolina to Savannah, Georgia out 20 nautical miles, and coastal waters from Savannah, Georgia to Altamaha Sound, Georgia out 20 nautical miles, including Grays Reef National Marine Sanctuary. Remember, a tornado watch means the conditions are favorable for the development of severe weather, including tornadoes, large hail, and damaging winds, in and close to the watch area. While severe weather may not be imminent, persons should remain alert for rapidly changing weather conditions and listen for later statements and possible warnings. Stay tuned to NOAA Weather Radio, commercial radio and television outlets, or internet sources for the latest severe weather information. You're listening to NOAA Weather Radio Station WXJ-23 in Beaufort. We are currently in severe weather operations. Many of our normal forecasts will not be played so that we may bring you the latest severe weather information. Normal programming will resume once all severe weather warnings have ended. The current local time is 5:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is a special weather statement. Strong thunderstorms will impact portions of Beaufort and Colleton counties. At 5:08 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, National Weather Service Doppler radar indicated a strong thunderstorm near Green Pond, or 12 miles east of Genesee, moving northeast at 40 miles an hour. Hazard, strong winds 45 to 55 miles an hour and up to penny-sized hail. Impact, expect minor damage to tree limbs and blowing around of light, unsecured objects. Minor hail damage to plants, trees, and crops is possible. Damage to windshields is unlikely. Some locations in the path of the storm include Jacksonboro, Ashepoo, Green Pond, Ritter, and Whitehall. Report damage directly to the Charleston National Weather Service at 1-888-383-2024 when it is safe to do so. You can also email your report to nws.charleston@noaa.gov. The National Weather Service in Columbia has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for Southeastern Barnwell County in central South Carolina, Bamberg County in central South Carolina, until 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. At 5:04 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, a severe thunderstorm was located over Appleton, or 11 miles south of Barnwell, moving east at 40 miles an hour. Hazard, 60 miles an hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. Source, radar indicated. Impact, hail damage to vehicles is expected. Expect wind damage to roofs, siding, and trees. Locations impacted include Rivers Bridge State Park, Earhart, Oler, Klein, and Govan. Remain alert for a possible tornado. Conditions are favorable for tornadoes to form, sometimes with little or no advance warning. Move to an interior room or closet on the lowest floor of a sturdy building. For your protection, seek shelter inside a sturdy building and stay away from windows. A severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect until 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Allendale County. At 5:02 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, a severe thunderstorm was located near Allendale, moving northeast at 40 miles an hour. Hazard, 60 miles an hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. Source, radar indicated. Impact, minor hail damage to vehicles is possible. Expect wind damage to trees and power lines. Locations impacted include Allendale, Sycamore, Omer, Siegeling, Millet, Martin, and Appleton. Increased rotation has been detected and a tornado warning may be needed. Remain alert for a possible tornado. Tornadoes can develop quickly from severe thunderstorms. If you spot a tornado, take shelter in a closet, bathroom, or small central room in a sturdy structure. For your protection, move to an interior room on the lowest floor of a building. Report damage directly to the Charleston National Weather Service at 1-888-383-2024 when it is safe to do so. The flood warning continues for the Savannah River at Burton's Ferry. At 8 a.m. Sunday, the stage was 15.7 feet. Flood stage is 15.0 feet. Minor flooding is occurring. Forecast: the river will rise to near 16.1 feet by Monday evening, then begin a slow fall. At 15.0 feet, flooding of some adjacent agricultural lands occurs. Most boat ramps along the river are unusable. The flood warning continues for the Savannah River near Clio. At 8 a.m. Sunday, the stage was 11.5 feet. Flood stage is 11.0 feet. Minor flooding is occurring. Forecast: the river will continue rising to near 12.6 feet by Wednesday morning. Additional rises may be possible thereafter. At 13.3 feet, 1 foot of water covers Tom Joey Road just after the pavement ends. These are the 5 p.m. weather reports from around the area. At Marine Corps Air Station Beaufort, thunder was reported. The temperature was 67 degrees. The dew point was 65. The relative humidity 93%. The wind was south at 14 miles an hour, gusting to 23. The pressure was 29.75 inches and falling. Additional observations will be available once severe weather watches and warnings have expired. You're listening to NOAA Weather Radio Station WXJ-23 in Beaufort. We are currently in severe weather operations. Many of our normal forecasts will not be played so that we may bring you the latest severe weather information. Normal programming will resume once all severe weather warnings have ended. The current local time is 5:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Synopsis for the coastal waters of South Coastal South Carolina and North Coastal Georgia. A cold front will sweep through the area tonight, followed by a reinforcing cold front Tuesday night. High pressure will prevail for the latter half of the week. Another frontal system could impact the area next weekend. Here is the coastal waters forecast. From Edgefield Beach to Savannah, out 20 nautical miles. Small craft advisory in effect from 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time this evening through late tonight. For tonight, southwest winds 20 to 25 knots with gusts to 30 knots, becoming west 15 to 20 knots late. Seas 4 to 6 feet. Showers with thunderstorms likely this evening, then a chance of showers after midnight. For Monday, northwest winds 10 to 15 knots with gusts to 20 knots, becoming north 5 to 10 knots in the afternoon. Seas 3 to 4 feet, subsiding to 2 to 3 feet in the afternoon. A slight chance of showers in the morning. For Monday night, north winds 5 to 10 knots. Seas 2 feet. A slight chance of showers after midnight. For Tuesday, northwest winds 10 to 15 knots. Seas 2 feet. A chance of showers in the morning. For Tuesday night, northwest winds 15 to 20 knots, increasing to 20 to 25 knots after midnight. Seas 2 to 3 feet, building to 3 to 4 feet after midnight. For Wednesday, north winds 15 to 20 knots with gusts to 25 knots, becoming northwest 5 to 10 knots in the afternoon. Seas 2 to 3 feet. For Wednesday night, northwest winds 5 to 10 knots. Seas 2 feet. Thursday, west winds 5 knots. Seas 2 feet. Thursday night, south winds 5 knots. Seas 2 feet. Friday, south winds 5 to 10 knots. Seas 2 feet. And for Friday night, south winds 10 knots. seas 2 to 3 feet. A slight chance of showers. Mariners are reminded that winds and seas higher and near thunderstorms. The extended forecast for the listening area. Wednesday night, clear. Lows in the mid-30s. Thursday, sunny. Highs in the upper 50s. Thursday night, partly cloudy. Lows in the mid-40s. Friday, partly sunny. Highs in the upper 60s. Friday night, mostly cloudy with a 20% chance of showers. Lows in the mid-50s. Saturday, mostly cloudy with a 30% chance of showers. Highs around 70. Saturday night, mostly cloudy with a 30% chance of showers. Lows in the upper 50s. Sunday, mostly cloudy with a 40% chance of showers. Highs in the lower 70s. This is a special weather statement. Strong thunderstorms will impact portions of Beaufort and Colleton counties. At 5:08 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, National Weather Service Doppler radar indicated a strong thunderstorm near Green Pond, or 12 miles east of Yenisei, moving northeast at 40 miles an hour. Hazard, strong winds 45 to 55 miles an hour and up to penny-sized hail. Impact, expect minor damage to tree limbs. The severe thunderstorm warning for Allendale County is canceled. The storm which prompted the warning has moved out of the area. Therefore, the warning has been canceled. You're listening to NOAA Weather Radio Station WXJ23 in Beaufort. We are currently in severe weather operations. Many of our normal forecasts will not be played so that we may bring you the latest severe weather information. Normal programming will resume once all severe weather warnings have ended. The current local time is 5:29 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is a special weather statement. Strong thunderstorms will impact portions of Beaufort and Colleton counties. At 5:08 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, National Weather Service Doppler radar indicated a strong thunderstorm near Green Pond, or 12 miles east of Yenisei, moving northeast at 40 miles an hour. Hazard, strong winds 45 to 55 miles an hour and up to penny-sized hail. Impact, expect minor damage to tree limbs and blowing around of light, unsecured objects. Minor hail damage to plants, trees, and crops is possible. Damage to windshields is unlikely. Some locations in the path of the storm include Jacksonboro, Ashepoo, Green Pond, Ritter, and Whitehall. Report damage directly to the Charleston National Weather Service at 1-888-383-2024 when it is safe to do so. You can also email your report to nws.charleston@noaa.gov. The National Weather Service in Columbia has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for Southeastern Barnwell County in central South Carolina, Bamberg County in central South Carolina, until 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. At 5:04 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, a severe thunderstorm was located over Appleton. A severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect until 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for southeastern Barnwell and Bamberg counties. At 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, a severe thunderstorm was located near Ulmer, or 12 miles south of Denmark, moving northeast at 25 miles an hour. Hazard, 60 miles an hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. Source, radar indicated. Impact, hail damage to vehicles is expected. Expect wind damage to roofs, siding, and trees. Locations impacted include Rivers Bridge State Park, Earhart, Oler, and Govan. For your protection, seek shelter inside a sturdy building and stay away from windows. The severe thunderstorm warning for Allendale County is canceled. The storm which prompted the warning has moved out of the area. Therefore, the warning has been canceled. The National Weather Service has issued Tornado Watch number 9, effective until 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This watch includes the following counties in South Carolina: Allendale, Bamberg, Beaufort, Colleton, Hampton, and Jasper, and the following: coastal waters from Edgefield Beach, South Carolina to Savannah, Georgia out 20 nautical miles, and coastal waters from Savannah, Georgia to Altamaha Sound, Georgia out 20 nautical miles, including Gray's Reef National Marine Sanctuary. Remember, a tornado watch means the conditions are favorable for the development of severe weather, including tornadoes, large hail, and damaging winds, in and close close to the watch area. While severe weather may not be imminent, persons should remain alert for rapidly changing weather conditions and listen for later statements and possible warnings. Stay tuned to NOAA Weather Radio, commercial radio and television outlets, or internet sources for the latest severe weather information. The 24-hour forecast for the listening area. Tonight, showers and thunderstorms this evening, then a chance of showers after midnight. Some thunderstorms may be severe with damaging winds and tornadoes. Locally heavy rainfall possible this evening. Lows in the lower 50s. Southwest winds 15 to 20 miles an hour, becoming west 10 to 15 miles an hour after midnight. Chance of rain near 100%. Monday, partly sunny. Highs around 60. Less humid. Northwest winds 10 to 15 miles an hour. You're listening to NOAA Weather Radio Station WXJ-23 in Beaufort. We are currently in severe weather operations. Many of our normal forecasts will not be played so that we may bring you the latest severe weather information. Normal programming will resume once all severe weather warnings have ended. The current local time is 5:33 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is a special weather statement. Strong thunderstorms will impact portions of Beaufort and Colleton counties. At 5:08 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, National Weather Service Doppler radar indicated a strong thunderstorm near Green Pond, or 12 miles east of Genesee, moving northeast at 40 miles an hour. Hazard, strong winds 45 to 55 miles an hour and up to penny-sized hail. Impact, expect minor damage to tree limbs and blowing around of light, unsecured objects. Minor hail damage to plants, trees, and crops is possible. Damage to windshields is unlikely. Some locations in the path of the storm include Jacksonboro, Ashepoo, Green Pond, Ritter, and Whitehall. Report damage directly to the Charleston National Weather Service at 1-888-383-2024 when it is safe to do so. You can also email your report to nws.charleston@noaa.gov. A severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect until 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Southeastern Barnwell and Bamberg counties. At 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, a severe thunderstorm was The National Weather Service in Columbia has issued a tornado warning for Central Bamberg County in central South Carolina, South Central Orangeburg County in central South Carolina, until 6:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. At 5:34 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Omer, or 11 miles south of Denmark, moving northeast at 30 miles an hour. Hazard, tornado and quarter-size hail. Source, radar indicated rotation. Impact, flying debris will be dangerous to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed. Damage to roofs, windows, and vehicles will occur. Tree damage is likely. Locations impacted include Bamberg, Branchville, and Oler. Take cover now. If you are outdoors, in a mobile home, or in a vehicle, move to an interior room or closet on the lowest floor of a sturdy building immediately. A severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect until 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Southeastern Barnwell and Bamberg counties. At 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, a severe thunderstorm was located near Omer, or 12 miles south of Denmark, moving northeast at 25 miles.
I'm James Brierton in Charlotte with live storm coverage here from the Carolina Weather Group. It is 5:37 p.m. Eastern Time. Now on March to the 3rd, we have our first tornado warning in the Carolinas for the day. Let's go ahead and pop this up on your screen here. This is going to be for portions of central Bamberg and south central Orangeburg County in central South Carolina. This is just issued a few moments ago by the National Weather Service in Columbia. This warning will go until 6:15. We are tracking right now a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. It's located near Ulmer, about 11 miles south of Denmark, moving northeast at 30 miles an hour. we're going to be watching here for the hazards that include, of course, a tornado, but also cannot rule out the chance of seeing some hail. You can see it there on the right side of your screen. We'll go ahead and turn the telestrator on. As you're probably familiar with, we're looking for the area on radar where these colors come together. We have this bright green and a little bit of a gray. It should be red if it begins to strengthen here, just outside of Oler, and again, this is for tornado warning. This is going to be continuing here to the north and to the east over the course of the next 20 or 30 minutes or so. You can see it's outlined first in yellow, which would be a severe thunderstorm warning for the chance of hail and damaging winds, and the National Weather Service just went ahead and outlined it in red, which means we do have a tornado warning. So if you're anywhere between Bamberg, Branchville, you need to start doing your storm preparations. We're going to be monitoring this over the next few minutes. We'll have more live coverage here on the Carolina Weather Group coming up.
Immediately. The National Weather Service has issued Tornado Watch number 9, effective until 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This watch includes the following counties in South Carolina: Allendale, Bamberg, Beaufort, Colleton, Hampton, and Jasper, and the following: coastal waters from Edgefield Beach, South Carolina to Savannah, Georgia, out 20 nautical miles, and coastal waters from Savannah, Georgia to Altamaha Sound, Georgia, out 20 nautical miles, including Grays Reef National Marine Sanctuary. Remember, a tornado watch means the conditions are favorable for the development of severe weather, including tornadoes, large hail, and damaging winds, in and close to the watch area.
So what you probably just saw on that last radar shot, and we'll go ahead and put back up on the screen here, is that we have two tornado warnings, one in South Carolina and one near the South Carolina border in Georgia. The one at the center of your screen as this radar loop plays on through is the one we were just talking about, the one issued in South Carolina. And this again now goes for the next 35 minutes or so for central Bamberg and south central Orangeburg counties in South Carolina. But we are watching that storm that is approaching the South Carolina border. Technically right now still in Georgia, near Waynesboro is where that exact circulation is, and I'll go ahead and show that to you on the screen too, because that is going to be of interest for us here as we go through the next half hour or so, because right now we're continuing to watch here on the Georgia side some circulation near Waynesboro. So again, this is a tornado warning on the Georgia side of the border that will continue for the next half hour or so. Let's go ahead and make our radar here a little bit fuller on your screen so you can see a little bit better what it is that we are tracking. You see we have a gusty here. I'm going to kind of really poorly outline the state line. We have two tornado warnings that we're watching here on each side of the state line. So we have one in South Carolina that will go for the next half an hour or so, and then we're going to continue to watch this other cell to see as it advances to the north and east if it does in fact cross into the South Carolina line. You can also see that not too far from where we have this tornado warning, again here for portions of Orangeburg and Bamberg County, we have another area of circulation that we will keep an eye on just outside of Sycamore to see what this does over the course of the next few minutes or so. What I'd like to do is I want to take our radar here and I'm going to go zoom out because I want to give you the full breadth of what it is that we are looking at here. If you are just checking out the weather for the first time today, I'm going to go ahead and switch this over to radar out of Peachtree City outside the Atlanta area there in Georgia, because we've had a very active severe weather day across the southeast, and you might even still be able to see some of the tornado warnings that are in effect right now across south central and south west Georgia. We had a tornado warning not only right now active across areas like Douglas and Hazelburst. This is going to be not too far from Tifton and I-75 corridor, but we had a few tornadoes with report damage come across the Columbus, Georgia area a little bit earlier. So we're watching right now. There's a line of storms that is roughly about here or so that is going to be pushing to the north and east over the course of the next few hours or so. And so that's what we're keeping a very close eye on as these storms advance through the southeast. Of course, in our neck of the woods, our interest is in the Carolinas here for the Carolina Weather Group, and that's why we're watching two of these cells right now that have prompted the National Weather Service to go ahead and issue tornado warnings. Again, the one in Carolinas is in central Bamberg County and south central Orangeburg County. That goes until 6:15, and we're tracking a possible tornado just outside of Omer, or just outside outside of Denmark, moving northeast at 30 miles an hour. We're also watching back on the Georgia side of things, a cell near Waynesboro that is moving to the north and east, that if it were to be extended, it would go ahead and push across the border into South Carolina, and that's why we're going to be keeping a very close eye on that over the course of the next few minutes or so to see what becomes of that. But certainly we have a lot of rain across portions of the south, and we're already beginning to get a preliminary indication of the damage, the extent that these storms have had across portions of the south today. As we go ahead and pop some more radar up on your screen here, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at National Weather Service chat. That's where emergency management, the media, coordinate and discuss with the Weather Service to find out exactly what might be going on. And so here in the South Carolina area, we are watching the report of a rotating wall cloud that a trained weather spotter relayed to the National Weather Service about 2 miles from Ulmer, South Carolina. This was near Highway 321 and 301 just a few minutes ago, and that is partially why the National Weather Service is continuing to watch this cell very closely for the possibility of a tornado there, as velocity certainly tightened up on radar in the last few minutes, and that's what we were looking at on radar just a moment ago. When we take a look at radar, what it is that we're looking for is we're looking not only at this view, which is reflectivity, which is going to show us the intensity of the rain, but if we switch to the winds, we switch to the velocity, we're watching winds in the atmosphere rotate. And so what these colors dictate are winds that are moving away and towards the radar. So we have away and towards, and what that allows us to do is see some rotating winds in the atmosphere, and those are actually indicated on your screen right about, sorry, I thought the illustrator was on, right about here, where we have the pink on the right and a little bit of green on the left. Those are winds rotating towards and from the radar, and that's the area that we're watching very closely here for the possibility of a tornado. Again, this is in central South Carolina or so. We are watching a few other areas, and you can see preliminarily where we are watching some of those areas of intense winds starting to rotate a bit. Now, there is a certain extent of rotation that is expected with any thunderstorm, but once we start seeing those colors get really bright there on velocity is when we start watching very closely, and when the National Weather Service often goes ahead and issues a tornado warning. You can see a really good example of that back on the Georgia side of things, not too far from Waynesboro, where you can see very close together we have this area of red and this area of green really close together, which is why I'm watching there for a tornado warning as this begins to move towards the east. Let's see just how far we are from the state line. I don't think we're terribly too far. About 15, 20 miles or so. We'll watch to see if the National Weather Service goes ahead and extends that warning into South Carolina, because obviously that would be very pertinent to us. But certainly, one way or the other, it is something that we are watching very carefully here as we are gearing up for a severe weather night across the Carolinas. Mainly in South Carolina is where we're expecting the brunt of the severe weather tonight. I'm actually preparing right now to show you graphics from the Storm Prediction Center. This is the wing of NOAA, the National Weather Service, that goes ahead and issues these convective outlooks that determine what our chances of seeing severe weather over the course of the next few hours or so. And let me go ahead and pop this full on your screen if I can here, so you can see exactly what it is that we are dealing with. But you can see that a lot of South Carolina is in what they classify as a slight risk of seeing severe weather through the remainder of tonight. That's what's in yellow on your screen. That's a 2 out of 5 on this scale. So this tops out at 5. That enhanced area, that orange you see across portions of Georgia and Alabama, has already been playing out over the course of the last few hours, and that's a 3 out of 5. So again, we do have a slight risk of seeing severe weather, 2 out of 5 on this scale, across portions of the Carolinas, mainly across areas of the Midlands and towards the low-lying country of South Carolina as we go through the course of the remaining hours. We do have a marginal risk that extends into upstate South Carolina, even towards portions of the Charlotte area or Wilmington, but we're expecting the brunt of the severe weather not only to be playing out today as we've been seeing it across portions of Georgia and Alabama, but what we do see here in the Carolinas will mainly be focused from Columbia south towards Charleston and the extended along the coast there, and that's what we're beginning to see now, the first few cells pushing moving into the Carolinas. The reason I keep looking off screen here a little bit is because this is where we've got more data and more displays for you on the screen. So as things are moving here behind me, this is actually a glimpse of what I'm looking at here on the monitor next to me as we're continuing to watch this severe weather push through the Carolinas. We are going to also be looking throughout the day at not only the chat we have with the National Weather Service, but also the chat we have with so many of you at home. So as you're watching us live here on Facebook and on YouTube and on Twitter, feel free to put some comments and some storm reports in that chat, and we'll be taking a look at those as we head on through the evening. We're just getting word from the National Weather Service in Columbia that the Bamberg County cell is cycling back down now. So sometimes with these cells, you see them intensify, they come back down, and then we wait to see if they intensify again. And so we'll wait to see exactly how that plays out over the course of the next few minutes or so. But that Burke County cell is certainly still looking fairly strong, and so we'll be monitoring that along with the National Weather Service over the course of the next few minutes or so. Glancing over at our chat here again, you can comment to us here at the Carolina Weather Group on Facebook Live, on YouTube, and on Periscope. And actually, if you are going to be relaying any storm reports, you can always use the hashtag SCWX or NCWX to relay storm reports, and the Weather Service will be looking at those as well too. I think we might even have some graphics that we can talk about what to do in the event of a tornado warning in your area. So whether you're in an active tornado warning right now, or if you are just anticipating the situation that you could be in a little bit later today, right now is a really good time to prepare. What these graphics are going to show you is how to prepare for a tornado. And so right now is a perfect time to start thinking about where in your home you'll want to be. So you'll not only want to have that cell phone charged and that NOAA weather radio on to listen for alerts throughout the evening, but you want to identify that spot in your house that is your safe place. That's the lowest level, as central into the interior of your house as you can. You want as many walls between you and the outside as possible. You don't want to be in a room with any exterior windows. You don't want to be in a room with any exterior walls. So if you have a basement, that would be ideal. Not necessarily everyone has basements, so you want to identify now what area in your house is the safest place to be during a tornado, and that is the lowest floor, as central to the interior of your home as you possibly can be. And whether or not you will need to use that or not, we will wait to see over the course of the next few hours or so. But certainly the folks who should be in those safe places right now are those folks inside this tornado warning that is in effect until 6:15 for Bamberg and Orangeburg counties in South Carolina. As we're continuing to watch this, you should be taking cover now and not come out of that safe place until this storm has passed. Other folks who should be on alert and standing by are those who live along the Georgia line near Burke County, because we're continuing to track a tornado warning cell moving out of Burke County, Georgia, that if it were to continue, and it has not been extended just yet, but if it were to come into South Carolina, let's see, it looks like we have Barnwell and Snelling here that could possibly be in the future path of a storm. And we'll go ahead and switch back over to velocity. You can still see we have a very strong radar indication of a tornado here. This again is the winds, this is the velocity look. And so what we're going to be looking for is whether or not the National Weather Service decides to extend this thing over the next few minutes or so. And if they do, that'll push into South Carolina, and we'll have even more people who should be preparing for or moving to a storm-safe place. So right now, we have two tornado warnings that we're watching very carefully, both in south central South Carolina or so. And we do anticipate, as we head on through the evening hours, continuing to have more severe weather. Just take a look at all of this rain. We have several severe threats as we go through the evening that we're going to be watching very carefully. Across, of course, we have the chance of seeing isolated tornado or even some severe damaging winds, but we're also going to need to just take into effect, and this is what most people are going to experience tonight, it's just the pure magnitude of all of this rain. It's been very rainy in a lot of the Carolinas over the last few weeks, and so grounds are already saturated in a lot of places, and this is going to be even more precipitation falling from the atmosphere that is going to need some place to go. And so not only are we watching for severe weather in terms of damaging wind, hail, and tornadoes, but we also have to watch the environment is going to cope with all of this activity and all of this rain over the course of the next few minutes and to hours or so. But again, widening this view back out, you can still see that we have several tornado warnings across the deep south today. And this has been going on for the brunt of the day, but this extends not only in our area, but we also have some severe weather now that is pushing into the Savannah metro area in Georgia. So be on alert in Hilton Head Island and other areas of the southernmost areas of South Carolina, because in the next few minutes or so, some of these strongest winds may start coming your way. No tornado warnings right now too imminently close to that, but we do have some that are approaching Jessup, Georgia, and as you make your way back closer to Tifton and I-75, and you can even see here Dothan, Alabama there, and Eufaula, Georgia, there on the Alabama line, are still dealing with severe weather that is beginning to clear out. So we had a lot of severe weather that pushed across the Montgomery, Auburn, Alabama, Columbus, Georgia area earlier today, but you can see now that they're finally getting a sigh of relief from the weather, which will be really good for rescue and recovery operations, as we had a pretty significant damaging tornado come across the Columbus area a little bit earlier today. But as for the rest of us, we're just starting to get into the brunt of this here in the Carolinas, and that's what we're going to be watching over the course of the next few hours or so. Our plan for coverage here on the Carolina Weather Group is going to be a combination of what you're seeing now, having anchors on the screen talking to you, relaying information, but also using our network of sky cams and NOAA Weather Radio to relay information between some of our anchored coverage as well too. We do have a continuation of the tornado warning there in the Georgia side of things. So it looks like right now they're still limiting the tornado I was telling you about coming out of Waynesboro. This is Burke County, Georgia. This is going to continue to just be on the Georgia side of things for the next little bit here. But since we have so many folks who are probably interested in activities just across the border there, do know that not only are we monitoring for that radar indicated tornado, but also hail of about 3/4 of an inch or so. So we have an extension of that tornado warning, which you see on your screen here, which will go for the next few minutes or so, because a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado at last check was located near Plant. Let's see, how would you say that? That is Vogel. Moving east at 55 miles an hour. But again, we're going to have to watch very closely to see if the National Weather Service decides to extend this, because if they do, that is going to move it into South Carolina, and we would look for that again as we start to approach Snelling and Barnwell areas of South Carolina over the course of the next few minutes or so. That telestrator is just giving me a whole lot of trouble tonight, and I apologize for that. Every time I try to draw, it's just moving. So we'll just leave that there for a moment. But again, we are monitoring severe weather that is moving through the Carolina Weather Group coverage area, which has prompted us to issue our alert mode. You'll see that our backgrounds are red. Not only that, but our social media icons as well too, because we are tracking this severe weather coming through the Carolinas, and we want to keep you updated on all the latest that is coming in. Checking right now in with the National Weather Service on my monitor all the way over here on the far left. We're waiting to see if we get any additional information or indication as to what they plan to do here over the course of the next few minutes. But if you'll remember, I talked about not only the tornado threat for today, but we also have that damaging wind threat. We're starting to see a little bit of that. The National Weather Service in Charleston letting us know that in Scraven County, Georgia, it looks like they got a report of some trees down Beaver Dam Road and Rolling Road just because of the intensity of some of these storms. Now, that was likely caused by a thunderstorm and not a tornado, but it's a good reminder that you don't need a tornado in order to make this a memorable day for you. You could very well end up in a very severe thunderstorm with damaging wind. A good reminder that at any point this evening, if the National Weather Service issues a severe thunderstorm warning, that means it has one or of two things. One of those being damaging winds of at least 60 miles an hour, and so you need to take those very seriously as well too. We're waiting to hear more from the National Weather Service as to what they plan to do with these two severe storms that we're watching right now. Both of them are tornado warned. One is in South Carolina and one is not, but we're waiting to see if in fact it will move into South Carolina, and I think we may have just gotten that here as I'm looking at the chat from the National Weather Service. We have a tornado warning for Aiken and Edgefield counties until 6:45. That a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located 7 miles northwest of, I'm going to mess this one up too, folks, Belvidar. And that's moving east at 55 miles an hour. I'm trying to do my very best with a lot of these, and I can actually see this one is showing up on radar now, and this one's actually a little bit further to the north here. So I'm going to switch our perspective, switch our radar now to that of the National Weather Service in Columbia, because we are watching 3 different potentially tornadic cells that are moving into our area. So we've got one here now that was just issued for Aiken and Edgefield, South Carolina until 6:45. We have another one here over portions of Orangeburg County that will continue until 6:15. And we have one more, Burke County, Georgia, that we're waiting to see if that gets extended and pushes into portions of South Carolina. We should know the answer to that in the next few minutes. But let's go ahead and push in on this brand new one here and let you know exactly what it is that we're anticipating with this cell that just had a tornado warning issued for southern Edgefield County in central South Carolina, along with northwestern Aiken County. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado moving east at 55 miles an hour, and you can see it is quickly approaching Murphy's Estate. You can see that here, where again now we have blue and green on the radar coming together, and this is projected to move to the northeast at 55 miles an hour or so. You can see areas that are inside this polygon include as far north as Trenton, because it would not be out of the realm of possibility that we could see a little wobble with this storm. So that's why these polygons kind of go outward to give us a little bit of a margin of error over the course of the next few minutes or so. We'll be watching for flying debris and dangerous winds. Locations include the Aiken Airport, Edgefield County Airport, Murphy's Estate, Forks Campground, Mount Vintage, and Murphy Village. This is also going to include portions of Interstate 20 between mile markers 9 and 29 on Interstate 26. So Interstate 20 in South Carolina between mile markers 9 and 29, some portions of Interstate 26. So if I get my bearings here, and I take a look at our radar, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we should have the interstate running right about here, this telestrator, right about here. And so that actually will give us a very interesting perspective over the course of the next few minutes, because we'll go ahead and we will pull up the Department of Transportation cameras to see if there's anything that we can observe ourselves on the ground there. Of course, it's very dark right now, and so I wouldn't be expecting to see as much as maybe we would have saw earlier, but we will be monitoring that situation there very closely. 6 o'clock now, James Brierton with you on the Carolina Weather Group. We're in alert mode. We have 2 tornado warnings and a third just across the border into Georgia. This is all associated with a system that has been bringing severe weather across portions of the South today. Numerous damaging tornadoes across areas of Alabama and Georgia, and at this hour watching the situation unfold across the Panhandle in northern Florida as well too. All of this in the forecast and playing out, I think, about as we expected. And let me go ahead and just say that we do now have 3 cells that have tornado warnings here in the Carolinas, and that is because that Burke County cell out of Georgia has gone ahead and been extended as well now too. So that was almost anticipated. That's what we've been talking about. It should update on our graphics on the screen here in the next few minutes. In anticipation of that, let me go ahead and pop that up full to show you a little bit by drawing it on by hand that we do now have a tornado warning in this area as well too, that is coming out of a cell moving across the border. So this is going to be Barnwell, South Carolina. This is exiting Burke County, Georgia. This tornado warning is going to go to 6:45 again for a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. You just saw it actually draw the full tornado warning there on the screen. So let me tell you a little bit about this one. So we have a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. It's moving east at 45 miles an hour. It's crossing into South Carolina right now from Burke County and is coming now into South Carolina, specifically in Barnwell. We'll be watching again for flying debris. This one is going to include areas of Barnwell, Savannah Riverside, Willingston, Blackville State Park, Hilda, Snelling, Barnwell, Elko, the Barnwell County Airport and the Savannah River Site K complex are all inside this tornado warning, and it's not too far from where we had the previous as warning as well too. That goes for another 12 minutes or so. So areas right now that are under the gun, if you live between Bamberg and Branchville, South Carolina, you have radar indicated winds above you that would indicate a tornado is possible. We do now have a new tornado warning coming into portions of South Carolina that I was just talking about for Barnwell, where we're going to be watching very closely. You should be heading to that safe place if you live in Snelling or Barnwell or Elko, Blacksville, or Hilda. And we have another one now just north of Augusta that's exiting Georgia, coming into South Carolina, and does include Murphy's Estate as well as Trenton. This is also the interstate, so if you have any travel, please do put that on hold. If you are traveling or know anyone who may be traveling along the section of roadway, give them a call on their cell phone. Make sure they know what's going on, and they should be getting off the road and seeking shelter in a sturdy structure. That means not under an overpass. That is a long, old myth. You should not be seeking shelter from a tornado underneath an overpass. You should be exiting and finding a sturdy shelter. And so folks should be taking that precaution now, as we're still several minutes out from that tornado, a potential tornado catching up there with the interstate. So now is the time to be preparing in a lot of those areas. So as we roll into the 6 o'clock hour now, we have 3 tornado warnings in South Carolina. We're going to be efforting for you some Department of Transportation cameras on your screen so that we can watch very carefully as information becomes available, because we can do a lot with radar, especially in an hour like this where we've now lost daylight, but we still do rely on an eye on the ground, whether that be from a human being or a camera to track what is actually happening, because the radar is scanning in the upper atmosphere. If we're down here on the ground, radar is making a pass. Could be 5, 6, 7, maybe 10,000 feet up in the air. So it's a good indication of what's coming, but you're making an assumption on what's happening on the ground based on 10,000 feet up in the air. So we are looking for storm reports to be relayed either into our chat. We'll get those over to the National Weather Service, or you can send them to the National Weather Service directly by tweeting hashtag SCWX. That would also be NCWX or GAWX. Only do that if you're in a safe place. If you're in any of these areas right now that have a tornado warning, you need to be heading to your safe place. Now is not the time to be stepping outside and taking pictures or sending tweets. Only do that when it is safe to do so after the storm has passed. The safest place for you to be right now is in the lowest, central-most level room in your house. If that's a basement, great. If not, that could be something like a bathroom or a closet downstairs. As far down into your house as you can go, as far away from outside windows and walls as you can. We have some of those screens, graphics playing on your screen right now, and I believe one of these ones coming up will illustrate exactly that, because you do not want to be outside or near outside. You want as many boundaries between you and the outside world as possible. Now, if you're listening or watching our coverage right now and you're not in any of these areas that have a warning, it's a good time to be prepared. Charge that cell phone, get some food, find a flashlight, because if any of these storms, even your run-of-the-mill thunderstorm, knocks out power later on today, you might be needing that thunderstorm or that flashlight. I was just checking and talking at the same time whether or not we had any Department of Transportation cameras along Interstate 20 where we do have that tornado warning. We do not. I thought we did. We must have some on Georgia side of things, and so we'll try to check that out in a minute. But what I want to show you right now is I want to go back in towards Branchville, because over the course of the last few minutes or so, this tornado warning that remains in effect for Bamberg and Orange County is intensifying, and it's making me uncomfortable, because you can see here as this area of green gets brighter and that area of red becomes more distinct, this cell is becoming tighter. The rotation, the potential tornado is becoming clearer to see. And as we get into the next frame here, you can see that we're still seeing it. And so that is a good indication that we might have a tornado threat here moving to just the north and west of Branchville. And if I play the last few frames back, you can actually see how this comes together here. This is over the last 10 minutes or so. You can see how this has been progressing. And if this path were to continue, Bowman, you are in a direct path here. If this is to to continue over the next few minutes or so. We'll wait for the National Weather Service to find out exactly what they do plan to do, but you can see that this potential tornado is about to move out of its red polygon. So we would anticipate in the next few minutes or so that the National Weather Service may make a decision to extend that. And if they do, if they were to extend that warning under the storm's current trajectory, areas like Roseville and Bowen, you need to be standing by and getting ready to go to your safe place, because we are watching here some tightening of on velocity that would indicate we could be looking at a tornado that could be damaging. What we can do to get a better indication of that is look at what's called correlation coefficient to see exactly what it is that we're picking up here. And let me go ahead and put this into motion as well too, to try to get an idea of what might be getting lofted into the atmosphere. And even just over the last few frames or so, we're getting some indication that there could be something that is being picked up. So as a potential tornado is coming through, if it's picking up branches or other debris, those objects will actually interact with the radar beam and send a signal back to say, hey, there's something solid here in the atmosphere. What that is, we may not know right away, but that's why we're watching very closely this and some other storms that are moving across South Carolina, because they could be fairly significant as we head on through. We do just have an update here from the National Weather Service, continuing a tornado warning for Aiken and Edgefield counties now, 6:45 or so. If I'm not mistaken, that is this one. Yes, it is Southern Edgefield County, and let's go ahead and bring this full so you can read along with me or so. But this is the one that is just outside the Augusta area, now in the South Carolina sign. Not as easily defined on radar, but what the National Weather Service is telling us right now is that they have gone ahead and continued this tornado warning, and it could again be near Edgefield County Airport and Trenton over the course of the next few minutes or so. Interstate 20 is also going to be inside this warning over the course of the next few minutes. So if you are planning any travel or know anyone who is, give them a call and ask them to put that on hold for the next few minutes or so, especially if you know someone who might be on the interstate. Give them a call, tell them to get off the road, find a sturdy area to seek shelter. This is just across the border from Georgia on the South Carolina side until this storm has passed. They can, of course, watch our coverage or other coverage that may be available to them. One of the great things is they should be getting notifications via the Wireless Emergency Alert System, WEA, that should be coming directly to their cell phone, whether they like it or not. Their cell phone should be indicating them that they've got a severe weather, tornado warning in their area, and that's why it's very important that you do monitor and keep your cell phone charged as well too. We, of course, always loved good old-fashioned NOAA weather radio. That is another option as well too, because all of this is about having as many paths to information as possible. As you're watching our coverage tonight, if you're in a safe place to relay storm reports, you can put them in our chat on Facebook Live, YouTube, or Periscope, or if you're on the Twitter, go ahead and use hashtag SCWX, NCWX, or even GAWX if you're joining us on the Georgia side of things, because that's a hashtag that not only we will be monitoring, but the National Weather Service will be monitoring as well, too. So we do appreciate all of those comments that are coming in as we're continuing to monitor your severe weather. At 6:10, I'm James Brierton in Charlotte, and if you're watching from Charlotte or you're watching from other areas outside these three areas that we're talking about, the reason we're so zoomed in to central South Carolina is because that is where the storm activities is right now with regards to tornado warnings. Matter of fact, we don't even have any other types of warnings, whether they be severe thunderstorm warnings or whatnot, elsewhere right now. So we're watching that very carefully. Our own Jared Smith out of Charleston telling us right now he's got a report of hail in Westcott. He's waiting to hear back on the exact size of that. I'm also going to move our radar here back into the area we were just talking about, because we do now have from the National Weather Service tornado warning for Calhoun and Orangeburg counties, and should be actually showing up on my screen here momentarily in anticipation of that. There it is. Let's go ahead and take radar full. So you can see exactly what it is that we are looking at here, but we now have a tornado warning that goes until 6:45, if I'm not mistaken. This is for the cell that is now passing Branchville. So just to the north of Branchville, we're watching on velocity. This is radar-indicated winds, a very tight rotation that is now going to be making its way into portions of southeastern Calhoun County and southeastern Orangeburg County. And we're watching again as that severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado is located near Branchville. So circle it for you here on our screen. No indication whether or not a tornado is actually on the ground, but it is radar indicated right now. Locations that need to be seeking shelter immediately: Branchville, Bowman, Santee, Roseville, Indian Bluff Recreation Park. And if you are out in a park, again, you're going to want a sturdy structure. You're going to be talking about Mill Creek Marina, get off the water, campgrounds as well too. So we have a few recreational areas the National Weather Service is telling us in this particular neck of the woods. And again, you can see as we got a radar update, just look how bright that area of green is on the screen there, which would be that apparently is as far in as I can zoom. Nope, there we go. That is where we're looking at the most intense winds moving towards and from the radar. So away and towards the radar, which would indicate cyclonic rotation. And so that's why if you're in Branchville, Roseville, Bowman, get to your safe place now. We are not fooling around today. We are continuing to watch a tornado warning that is also in effect for the next half an hour. This is for locations near the Center River site, moving northeast at 45 miles an hour. This is Barnwell County. Colors are just slightly different here, and we won't get into why that is, but you can see that we are looking at a blue and a green, and actually just in the last frame or so, got a little less pronounced in that last frame. But like we talked about before, these things can cycle. They can come and they can go. So this tornado warning is still active the next half an hour or so, and as a precaution, if you're in Snelling, Barnwell, Elko, Plaxville, Hilda, get to your safe place right now because you have a possible tornado. You have a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado that is coming your way. Let me take a look here because I'm noticing on my screen, and you may be noticing as well too, that we're actually missing one of the warnings. And let me see, I suspect they canceled it, and they did. So if you live in Aiken or Edgefield, South Carolina, it is now safe for you to come out of your safe place. We have no active tornado warning there anymore. The National Weather Service, though, is telling us that they are monitoring a cell near Allendale County as it moves towards Barnwell County. And so, I think I see that. If I'm not mistaken, we'll take radar full once again. We have another area of rotation, not currently warned, but I'm going to show it to you right on in here. That illustrator apparently is not getting paid overtime. There it is. Okay, so the National Weather Service, along with us, we're watching this area here for possible development. This is northern Allendale County moving towards Barnwell County. You can see we have Allendale on your screen. We also have areas like, I think that's Sycamore underneath my line there, and Omar for possible future tornado warning. We don't currently have anything that is active there right now, but we are watching that very carefully because not only are we anticipating the possibility of some long track tornadoes, but things could also spin up and dissipate very quickly. We had a situation not just a couple days ago in South Carolina where we had a very quick spin up tornado that brought down some trees. There was no tornado warning issued on it, and I'm bringing this up because I just want everyone to know that you should not be waiting for the tornado warning to take action. The tornado warning is confirmation that you need to be getting to that safe space, but it is just really smart that if you're living in any of these areas right now that we're talking about, give or take, be prepared. Have your shoes on now. Know where you're going. Have that cell phone charged because at a moment's notice, you may need to be getting to that safe space. And so there's no reason to not be prepared. Let me just check in here a couple other messages. We have our own Chris Jackson based out of Columbia. You may know him from his South Carolina weather page. You may even be watching us on that South Carolina weather page. He is on the road storm chasing. Last we heard, I believe he was in the Columbus, Georgia area, because we had a lot of really damaging tornadoes move just north of Columbus, Georgia. If you're familiar with the area, that's going to be Lee County, Smith Station, Alabama area, and I believe Chris Jackson, who had made his way a little bit further south along the Georgia-Alabama line towards Tifton, was making his way back north. Dothan, making his way back north to check some of that out, and I'm looking at my phone here to see what some of those messages are from him and some other folks who may be out and about. Matter of fact, he's showing us some pictures here of damage that he is observing right now as he's beginning to lose sunlight along that Alabama and Georgia line, because right now along that Alabama-Georgia line, if we widen this out here for just a moment and I switch radar sources back to, let's do Peachtree City outside Atlanta, you can see that as I switch back to velocity, reflectivity, the rain is moving out from there. The rain is moving out from there, so you're able to go out and do storm assessments now very safely across those areas, as long as you are smart about it, because as you're dealing with down power lines and other things, you need to monitor for that very carefully, but they no longer have to worry about a continuing threat from the sky as they make their way through there. So not only are folks like Chris trying to do some storm observations and relaying that information back to the National Weather Service to get an idea of what came through earlier, but first responders and other folks are going out as well, too, of course, to check on the community. A quick glance before we move back into our area of what we're watching elsewhere across the area. We don't have the radar, unfortunately, out of Macon and Warner Robins, but we do now have over South Georgia a tornado warning that is over Jessup, Georgia. We have another one that is near Dawson, approaching Albany, and another one back on the Alabama side of things near Dothan. Those are the counties that are outlined in red. The ones in yellow are severe thunderstorm warnings, but just because it's not a tornado warning doesn't mean we don't have to take it seriously. Severe thunderstorm warning still means damaging hail, damaging winds. It is still a damaging, life-threatening situation, and so obviously that is something we will continue to watch. We have 2 tornado warnings at this hour in our neck of the woods in South Carolina, and let me go ahead and pop those up on the screen for you as we continue to track those. Right now we're looking at reflectivity. Of course, just a ton of rain moving across the area. But if we take a look at velocity, I can show you where we think the possibility of a tornado is. We do still have the motion on, so we're looking at the progress of these storm cells over the last few minutes or so. But this is Barnwell County here, just to the north of Snelling. You can see where that green and that red come together is where the winds were rotating. Now, of course, radar is surveying above the ground, so it won't be until after the fact that we can get confirmation whether or not there was any damage or anything on the ground. Sometimes you will be able to get real-time observations from folks like first responders, police, sheriffs, fire, who might be able to confirm to the National Weather Service whether or not something's on the ground. A little harder to do that at this hour as darkness is now falling on us. Let's move over to this cell here. This is a tornado warning that goes for the next half an hour, I believe, or so. And if I can get it to show up here, we're going to be looking at Bowman. And again, just between Branchville and Roseville is where this potential tornado may be and is moving to the northeast. And if I'm not mistaken, we're going to have some interstate here as well, too. So this is going to be Interstate 26 between Columbia and Charleston. I think that Bowman is probably an exit, if I recall correctly. I'm trying to remember every portion of North and South Carolina here as we make our way through coverage tonight. And so we might also have the opportunity once again to look at the potential of a DOT camera in the area. We have obviously some notifications from our own staff showing up on the screen here. And Jared Smith is in Charleston, South Carolina, you may recall, and he's been monitoring the situation as well, too. And so right now he says he's watching some tightening rotation near Savannah, and let's see exactly what it is that he may be looking at so that we can get an idea of, I see what he's talking about here. Yeah, so this is now coming into Bloomingdale area, maybe Puller here in Interstate 95 in the next few minutes or so. No tornado warning. It's moving outside of a polygon, but we're watching for the potential for some rotation there into the Savannah, Georgia area, which obviously we'll let you know about because it's not too far from South Carolina. 6:20. You're watching severe weather coverage from the Carolina Weather Group on Facebook Live, YouTube, and Periscope. We also have our partner pages who are streaming us. So if you're watching on Chris Jackson's South Carolina page or maybe Jared Smith's Charleston weather page, good evening to you as well, too, as we've brought the full network of Carolina Weather Group affiliates together here as we're monitoring this situation for the potential of some severe weather. As we go through the remainder of the evening, we do have a slight risk, 2 out of 5, issued by the Storm Prediction Center. I'm going to go ahead and show you that map here in just a second once I find it in the list of all of our graphics, which is really they kind of nailed this today, I think. So this is from the Storm Prediction Center. You can see a lot of South Carolina from the Midlands to the coast, from Columbia to Charleston, is in yellow here. That's a slight risk. That's about a 2 out of 5. That area that says ENH, that's orange over areas of Alabama and Georgia. That's an enhanced risk of about 3 out of 5. And that's where we did see a lot of damaging tornadoes. And as this system moves from the west to the east, we're already beginning, of course, to see some of those capable thunderstorms pushing into the Carolinas. The reason we're in slight and not enhanced is as we lose those daylight hours, we are anticipating that the storms may not have as much fuel, may not have as much oomph to them, but certainly not out of the question, as you can already see as we are tracking some tornado-warned cells moving across the area. I'm doing a little multitasking here because I have just pulled up from South Carolina DOT a camera here along Interstate 26. This is mile marker 163, which is just a little to the north and to the east of where we're seeing that area of circulation from that cell that is moving near Bowman. So again, we have a tornado warning that goes until 6:45 for southeastern Calhoun County and southeastern Orangeburg County. And we'll watch over the course of the next few minutes or so as it approaches the interstate to see if any of these camera networks do go ahead and pick anything up. We can certainly see a good number of cars moving across the roadway at this hour, and that makes me very nervous. And so if you do know anyone who may be traveling, go ahead and give them a call and ask them to get off the road because certainly a dangerous situation could be playing out here along the interstate over the course of the next few minutes or so. Resetting now at 6:23, we're watching 2 tornado-warned cells moving through South Carolina. The one here goes technically for another 20 minutes or so, and this is for Barnwell County. We're not seeing, at least from this perspective on this radar, let me go ahead and switch to the other radar, quite a strong area of rotation. It's not completely gone, but it's not as strong as it once was as it makes its way just to the north of Snelling. So we'll wait to see if the Weather Service lets that tornado warning play off the full 20 minutes or so. But we are still watching a dangerous situation now approaching Bowman. This is a tornado-warned cell that will continue for at least the next 20 minutes or so. As we're watching here a couplet, we have area of rotation on the radar, and you can see that there where the green and the red come on together. And so this is not only for that area of interstate we were talking about a minute ago, I-26, but it also is for all of Calhoun and Orangeburg counties. And so we're going to be watching this cell over the course of the next little bit to see not only what it does here on radar, but we'll wait to see if we get any sort of indication from folks on the ground whether or not we're getting any early indications of storm debris or damage. Jared Smith from our crew is telling us he just tweeted a photo. Let's see here what he is referring to. Bear with me 1 second. I'm going to take a look at this radar pretty close here. So I believe Jared Smith from Charleston Weather has just tweeted a photo to the National Weather Service with regards to hail near Goose Creek, where we don't currently have a warning. But let's see here. I'm trying to look for your photo, Jared. If you're hearing my voice, I'm looking for your photo, but I don't see it right now. So we'll look for that in a little bit. Oh, here it is. We'll go ahead and pop this up on our left source. And let me get this size correctly, otherwise you guys won't be able to see what I see, which wouldn't be any help. So We are continuing to monitor the severe weather, and Jared Smith is showing this here near Goose Creek. He's got some hail here from Kelly McGrath. And so we're waiting to see if the National Weather Service will issue a sort of warning there. Right now, they just have what they call a special weather statement, which is essentially to say that the storm does not meet any sort of severe weather criteria, but is something that is certainly catching their eye and the eye of the public. The other thing, what the National Weather Service is telling us right now is that the rotation in Barnwell County, as I was just showing you, has weakened a bit. And they will likely cancel that warning, which is not all too surprising. There was an indication of a debris ball, according to the National Weather Service in Edgefield County, which is consistent with the damage report that they received in that area. And we'll wait to see if we learn any more information about that. But they did just go ahead and cancel that warning we were talking about that is near Barnwell. So Barnwell County, your polygon is going to be disappearing in a moment. We will wait to see what more we learn of potential damage in Edgefield County, where we no longer have an active warning. To get your bearings, that's near the Augusta metro area. There was a warning out for a short time there. But now this allows us to focus in on just one cell that is continuing here at 627 to be severe thunderstorm warned. And that is the one just to the north of Bowman. Very to the north of Bowman. Very close to Bowman. If you're in Bowman, you should be in your safe place, because we've got radar indicated rotation within miles of the city center. And not only that, but it's going to be continuing to the north and to the east. And we're going to be watching for it here over the course of the next few minutes on Department of Transportation cameras on Interstate 26. So give a call to anyone who may be traveling here. And matter of fact, let me see what our latest indications, our latest tracking on the storm may be here over the course of the next few minutes or so. We'll go ahead and turn those storm tracks on. And we have a number of lines that are appearing on the screen just because of the pure activity in the atmosphere. But you can see that by 6:32, it's going to be approaching Santee. And so we're going to be watching this cell to be continuing moving to the north and to the east. It was defined here as 30 knots, but I believe if I look at the actual tornado warning, that will confirm for us that if you do that math, it's still about 30 miles an hour or so, give or take. So we did just get an updated scan here. We're continuing to look at velocity, which is the indication of where those winds are rotating in the atmosphere, and we are just to the north of Bowman. Just to the north of Bowman, moving to the north and to the east. And we have a tornado warning that will continue for Ellery, Santee, Vance. All of you should be heading to your safe place right now. The lowest level in your house, as centrally located as possible. And we have some graphics to help with that as well, too, because we're continuing to watch this thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado in Calhoun and Orangeburg counties. And again, these areas include Bowman, Ellery, Santee, Vance, Indian Bluff Recreation, Mill Creek Marina Campground, and other surrounding areas need to be moving to their safe place right now. National Weather Service monitoring rotation near Bamberg County for possible future development, and we will continue to monitor that alongside of them as well, too. Let's take radar full once again. We'll go ahead and zoom out here a little bit to give you kind of a look at what's happening across the area. So most of the activity is between Columbia and Charleston, which is why we're focusing down here. We're not trying to ignore anyone else in other areas of the Carolinas, but this is where the activity is tonight. If it was in the mountains, we'd be in the mountains. If it was in Raleigh, we'd be in Raleigh. So right now we are focusing across the Midlands and the low country of South Carolina for the possible development of continued severe weather. Right now we have just one warning, but I wouldn't be surprised over the course of the next few minutes. Here's that one warning we have near Bowman, but as we come into the St. George area and just outside of Cottesville, we are seeing other areas of rotation indicated by the radar. And just to get a second perspective, I'm going to switch to the radar out of Charleston, and not only do we see it from Columbia, but we can see it from Charleston as well too. So coming into Ridgeville, you need to be on alert. And we're also seeing, again, we have that cell over Bowman. We have two radars that we're primarily using tonight, and they each have, of course, their own perspective. That one is in Columbia, the other one is in Charleston. I can pop them up here on your screen and you can see them. They are pretty close to the metro area in Columbia, not so much in the metro area in Charleston. It is actually going to be a little bit closer to the interstate of I-95 as you make your way a little bit further to the south. Hey, remember when Jared Smith a few minutes ago said he was seeing some rotation on radar near Savannah? Still no warning, but take a look at this near Pooler. We got red and green on the radar here, and so we'll wait to see if that gets any sort of warning or so. Nothing yet, but again, even the Savannah area, which for us really... Yeah, we care about Savannah, but as the Carolina Weather Group by name, we're going to be most interested to see what happens to this area of rotation as it pushes in towards areas like Hilton Head Island. And so we will continue to monitor that. You're watching live storm coverage. I'm James Brierton in Charlotte. This is Carolina Weather Group alert mode as we are continuing to watch tornado warnings popping up across the Carolinas, mainly south of Columbia down towards Charleston and the coast. And we'll continue to watch that. Even a little rotation. Jared Smith, if you are watching someplace and hear my voice, I'd be interested to get your take, my friend, on this area of rotation just outside Charleston here. No warning, but I'm sure we got viewers watching on your page as well too, to get a little bit more information there to see what might be going on. And so we will be continuing our coverage throughout the night as the situation warrants. It'll be a combination of a human being like myself sitting here talking to you at home. If we do get into a situation where we have no tornado warning, what we're going to do is then pop over to radar and NOAA weather radio and give us a chance to get some water and such. But right now we're continuing to watch as we have a tornado warning in effect. And I'm going to go ahead and get situated here to show you again some Skycam imagery. And I'm going to go ahead and do this one here, Interstate I-26, just not too far from Bowman. Now the area of rotation is weakening a bit. I don't see it there as much as I did just a few minutes ago. And not much to see on the camera here at Interstate 26 looking eastbound, mile marker 163. It's fairly dark, but what obviously does concern me is the pure volume of traffic on the road at this hour. We've got a lot of trees, we've got a lot of people, we've got a very wet roadway, and we even just get some gusty wind or so. We're going to be monitoring a situation here as well too. So let's show you the situation now across the entire region and go ahead and pop radar up full, because even outside this one tornado warning that you can see outlined here in red, we have just a ton of rain. And especially if you come up toward Charlotte, I can tell you it's been raining here for what feels like forever. And I know it's a little drier down towards the coast, but I think Columbia, you're just as saturated as we are, if I'm not mistaken. And so outside of the damaging wind and rain and hail and tornadoes, we got rain that needs someplace to go. So we're going to be watching for roadway flooding. If there's an area in your neighborhood that is prone to flooding when you get heavy rain, tonight is probably a night that you're going to see that. We do have a new tornado warning. This is going to be closer to the Charleston area and should be appearing on your screen momentarily. And I'm going to go ahead and start reading the bulletin while we wait for the graphics to update. I have a feeling it's going to be that Ridgeville storm, if I'm not mistaken. And let's see what we got here. So if you're watching us on Jared Smith's Charleston weather page, we have a new tornado warning now that was just issued by the National Weather Service in Charleston. It's going to be for the Ridgefield area, the Somerville area. This goes for Kelton, Berkeley, and Dorchester County until 7 o'clock. You can probably even hear in the background of my microphone our weather radio going off as we're continuing to monitor a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located near Gibbons Ferry State Park, moving east at 45 miles an hour or so. It has not popped up on the screen yet, so I'm just going to go ahead and vaguely circle the area that we're watching here, and we should get an actual polygon on the screen momentarily. This is going to impact Somerville, Gibbons Ferry State Park, Dorchester, Ridgeville, and Knightsville. This warning does include, once again, portions of Interstate 26, this time between mile markers 183 and 198, because if I'm not mistaken, the interstate is right on in here, and you can see as those winds are approaching, there's the polygon. I'm going to go ahead and drop my poor drawing off to go with our official polygon, and I'm also going to confirm we are, in fact, looking at this from the perspective of that radar in Charleston. So here's what we're looking at right here. Coming into Ridgefield, no joking aside, get to your safe place in Ridgefield right now, which means the lowest level of your house, as central of a room as possible. No exterior windows or doors. I think we have some informational and we can put it on the screen here to help you identify what that room may be, because once again, we do have a new tornado warning for Carlton, Berkeley, and Dorchester counties in South Carolina until 7 o'clock. We do not have confirmation that anything's on the ground, but what we are looking at here in radar is the wind velocities for the potential of a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado, as well as quarter-size hail and damaging winds over the next few minutes or so, and it's pretty quickly here, about moving east at about 30 miles an hour, going to be coming into the Ridgeville area. So get to the lowest level of your house, central room as possible, many walls between you and the outside as possible is what we're going to be looking for. The National Weather Service is telling us that that particular storm spun up low-level circulation quite rapidly, and that's what prompted that tornado warning, because just as you and I are looking at the information here, the Weather Service is looking at all their available information as well too, trying to get these warnings out as quickly and accurately as possible. They don't want to, it's a fine balance that we can get into at another time, but they never want to issue so many that it becomes a cry wolf situation. But certainly the moment they think that they've got a potential tornado or tornado risk, they're going to pull that trigger, and so they do it. It's a very delicate situation, but that means that when we see these tornado warnings, we need to take them very seriously, and so they don't just issue these to issue these. And as you may have seen on the side of your screen, we actually just let the tornado warning for Calhoun and Orangeburg counties expire, so that storm is now done. That was one that was in the Bowman area, which will allow us to exclusively focus our areas towards the Charleston metro. If you're watching on the Charleston weather page, good evening to you. You need to be taking storm precautions right now. If you live in Ridgeville or along that interstate, we're going to be trying to pull up some cameras there momentarily to show you exactly what is going on. And we do appreciate everyone who is tuning in tonight and trusting us to relay this information to them as quickly and accurately as we can. And that's exactly what we strive to do here at the Carolina Weather Group. So we do have a number of cameras in the area where this tornado warning is, and I'm actually going to pop one up on the screen right now. So this is Interstate 26 near Ridgeville, and not only was I just seeing lightning on the screen here as we bring this up full for you, but we're also seeing a lot of cars on the road too. So if you know anybody in this area, we're watching for a tornado warning, a tornado warned thunderstorm cell to be moving across the area in the next few minutes or so. And so certainly if you know anyone who may be traveling along this area of interstate tonight, give them a call, tell them to get off the road, find a sturdy structure. Sturdy structure does not mean an overpass. We do not want you taking shelter underneath an overpass. We want you getting off the road and finding a building. And so all these people who are driving here should be doing that now. Take a look at that lightning here. As this severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado begins to encroach on the interstate. This is in the Ridgeville area of South Carolina along Interstate I-26. And so we will be watching this very carefully over the course of the next few minutes or so. To see how this may continue to develop. Matter of fact, I think we might be able to double box these so that instead of seeing me, we can take a look at interstate here over the course of the next few minutes or so, as well as radar. So bear with me for just a moment while I get that set up. So certainly we can show that to you in real time, because I think that's going to be more interesting than anything else I have to potentially say or show you. And so we are watching here on the camera on your screen right now, and the radar that is coming back onto your screen, a tornado-warned cell in Ridgeville, South Carolina, that is going to be impacting Interstate 26 here in the next few minutes or so. This particular camera showing us just a ton of lightning, as you can see there. And so we are watching very carefully to see what we might be able to observe with our electronic eye here as this storm continues to develop over the course of the next few minutes. If you are in this area, if you're anywhere in this area, which again is going to be Berkeley, Dorchester, and Carlton counties, you want to get inside. You want to get to the lowest level of that structure. You want to put as many windows and doors between you and the outside as possible. as this storm continues to develop over the course of the next few minutes or so. I can even outline for you on the screen from Harleyville down towards Somerville where the interstate is. We've got a camera somewhere in there here, enter mile marker about 195 or so on the right side of your screen here. What we're looking at on radar is not any sort of confirmation of a tornado, but it is the ingredients that the radar would pick up that would indicate the potential of a tornado, and that is where that burnt orange color and the dark red is coming together. Those are winds moving away and towards the radar to indicate some sort of circulation there in the atmosphere. But again, radar is cutting or observing the atmosphere at a higher elevation than you and I are physically at. So we will wait for confirmation either from this Department of Transportation camera or other individuals on the ground if we do have anything that's actually on the ground. But until then, we're going to rely on radar and any observations we may get. If you are in a safe place to do so, and only if you're in a safe place to do so, you can relay storm reports to the National Weather Service directly. It's hashtag SCWX for South Carolina, NCWX for North Carolina, and if you're joining us tonight from Georgia, that would of course be GAWX. So that is something that they will be monitoring as well as us here at the Carolina Weather Group. But we're continuing to watch this tornado warn cell just outside the Charleston area. We do have a new tornado warning that I'm going to tell you about while we continue to leave that image on the right side of your screen. I'm going to go ahead and move the radar to Columbia because our own Melissa Griffin alerting me to slide our radar back up because we do have a new tornado warning now. This is back in the Columbia metro area, and this is going to be for a different interstate. This is going to be Interstate 20 here, and this is going to go for the next half hour. So read along with me here as we look at a tornado warning for central Lexington County at 6:40. The National Weather Service indicated a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located near Batesburg, Leesville, moving east at 50 miles an hour. Areas in this warning include, but are not limited to, Lexington, West Columbia, Casey, home of our own Chris Jackson, who is not home at the moment. He's out chasing in Georgia. Springdale, Oak Grove, Red Bank, St. Andrews, Pine Ridge, Riverbank Zoo, South Carolina State Farmers Market, the Columbia Metro Airport. So if you're flying tonight, expect some delays. West Columbia Riverwalk, Gilbert, Summit, Casey Riverwalk, Edmond, Camp, Kingard, Silver Lake. You have a tornado warning until 7:15. This was just issued by the National Weather Service. Areas also inside of this include Interstate 126, Interstate 20 between mile markers 41 and 64, and Interstate 26, Interstate 77, because this is the Columbia metro area, and this is where all of these roads are going to come on together. So we have a tornado warning on the left side of your screen on radar in the Columbia area. On the right side of your screen, we're back down towards Charleston, Ridgeville, tornado warning. You're watching live coverage from the Carolina Weather Group. This is the voice of James Brierton in Charlotte, North Carolina, where we're getting some light rain at this hour, but not nearly the activity that we're seeing across the Midlands and low country of South Carolina, where we now have two tornado warnings. One near Columbia and one outside the Charleston area. Both of these are impacting road networks. So if you know anyone that's traveling, I've said it before and I'll say it again, give them a call. Tell them to get off the road, or tell them to stay alert to changing weather conditions. You have the cell phones that will need to be charged if you're traveling, and you also would not hurt to have a good old-fashioned NOAA weather radio, because that cell phone's going to do a lot of good up until the point where we lose the cellular network. Pardon me, but 45 minutes of talking required a sip of water. We are continuing to watch severe weather moving across the Carolinas. We have a slight risk for severe weather across mainly the area that we've been talking about. The Midlands of South Carolina, the coast of South Carolina, even towards the Wilmington area. We can't rule out the chance for some severe weather later tonight. Let's switch this radar from velocity to reflectivity just because I want to show you the pure volume of rain. Look at all this rain. Of course, this area is red. Nothing to joke about. And coming to Florence in the next few minutes or so, coming out of Camden, heavy rain. Bishopsville, you're going to see it here in a moment as well, too. Hartsville. These are not any sort of severe weather by the criteria of warning. but it's heavy rain, and you're going to notice it as well, too. But, of course, we are talking mainly about these tornado warnings that we've got in Columbia and in Ridgeville, because they have the potential to be the most damaging. Let's go back down towards Charleston. We haven't talked about this one in a moment here. As we are watching this tornado warning cell, I will switch back over to velocity to see if there's been any change to it. And you can see here that the area we're watching is probably, I would say, on the southern half of this polygon, because these storms do wobble a little bit. So the National Weather Service gives themselves a little bit of margin of error, which is why everyone inside the polygon needs to be prepared, because these storms do wobble from left to right a little bit, east, west, north, south. And so as you even are maybe encroaching on northern Somerville, we're watching for radar-indicated rotation. Now, this radar that we're looking at here is coming all the way from Columbia. So bear with me. I'm going to zoom out here a little bit. You're going to watch me change this over to radar that's a little bit closer to the area we're talking about here. And you can see here that we do have what I would consider a broad area of circulation. So it is not the tightest area we've seen today, but it is enough to keep this tornado warning active here for Ridgeville, just outside the Charleston area. And this warning will continue for the next 13 minutes at least for areas like the Given Hands Ferry State Park and Dorchester and Berkeley. All of this playing out as we're continuing to get indications and reports of just a harrowing day across the Southeast, where we're continuing to have other areas of severe weather continuing to play out. We're now getting media reports that more than 10 people have died in Lee County, Alabama alone. That is just outside the Columbus, Georgia area, in the Smith Station area, where it is quiet now, but this area was hit hard earlier today by some very serious tornadoes, and our thoughts and prayers are with these folks and anyone else across the South who maybe were impacted by some storms. We're getting a lot of bouncing suddenly on that camera on the right side of your screen here, as we're seeing some intensifying of the winds. This camera, again, Interstate I-26, not too far from Ridgeville. You can see the lightning on the right side of your screen there, where we have this tornado warning that goes in effect or continues for the next 12 minutes or so. And so we're continuing to watch that situation, as well as a tornado warning for portions of the Columbia metro area. This is on the west half of town, and it also includes several interstate networks, as we're watching an area of circulation now near Summit and Gilbert, and we'll be continuing into areas like Lexington, Red Bank, and into, again, portions of West Columbia and Casey over the course of the next half an hour or so. You should be moving to your safe place right now. We are very close to the actual radar site here. Matter of fact, the area of circulation is so close that we're actually scanning the atmosphere at only 1,000 feet above the ground. As we talked about before, that radar is slicing the atmosphere and surveying not at the surface, but slightly above the surface. The closer to the radar, the closer to the surface. So as this area of circulation moves towards the radar, we should be able to get a pretty good glance at what's happening, until it actually will get so close we won't be able to see it, because it'll just be too close. But as opposed to that other storm we were watching, remember the storm we were talking about near Charleston? When we look at the radar there, it's a little bit of a different story. So even if I switch to that Charleston radar, you can see we're a little bit further away. We're a couple counties away. So when we're talking about that area of rotation, we're actually looking at it on radar about 4,000 feet up in the air, because we're some 50, 60 miles from the radar. We're continuing to watch that on the right side of your screen. And as that crosses the interstate and begins to move on, well, I suspect we'll move that camera on the right side of your screen to show you something actually in the Columbia metro area here in the next few minutes or so, as we continue to watch this situation developing. But you can actually see that area of rotation comes right on into this polygon. You can see that we had the area of rotation just before it entered the polygon, because we were watching that development come into place, and then it got to the area where it warranted a warning. And so if you live in this area, you want to be on the lowest level of your house, as central to the interior of your home as possible, as many doors and walls to the outside as possible. But as again, we're talking about the pure volume of interstates that we're about to come into here in the Columbia area. It is not a good night for travel. If you are traveling, you need a portable weather radio or a charged cell phone to get those wireless emergency alerts to your phone. And you need to have a plan here because you do not want to be caught on the interstate trying to find a place. Because you do not want to be under an overpass. You want to be in a sturdy structure. And let's see, we're actually just getting word from our own panelist, Melissa Griffin, that her family right now in the Columbia metro area are moving to their safe place. So we are taking our advice and warnings just as seriously as we hope you are. And so Melissa Griffin and her family right now moving to their safe place in their home as we're continuing to now watch a tornado-warned cell coming into the western Columbia area. 6:51 on March the 3rd, 2019. I'm James Barrington from Charlotte, and you're watching Carolina Weather Group alert mode coverage of severe weather across the area, and we welcome all of you watching not only on Facebook Live, YouTube, and Periscope for the Carolina Weather Group, but also our affiliate pages, including South Carolina Weather and Charleston Weather. Good evening to you. We hope you are watching from a safe place this evening. Real briefly, I want to mention this. We were talking about those. We were talking about this not 5 minutes ago. Remember all that heavy rain I was talking about coming into the Florence area, give or take? It now has a severe thunderstorm warning. I want to make something clear. The intensity of rain is not what prompts the warning. A severe thunderstorm warning is 60-mile-per-hour winds or quarter-size hail. So if you're in northeastern Lee County in South Carolina, central Chesterfield County, northeastern Kershaw County, you have a severe thunderstorm warning because we've got a storm near Clyde moving 9 miles north of Bishopville, moving east at 15 miles an hour with winds of 60 miles an hour. So we can expect damage to roofs, siding, and trees. This is for Bishopville, Lee State Park, Carolina Sandhills Wildlife Refuge. We also were talking about areas like Patrick and some other areas, including Bay Springs Fire Station in Ashland. Also, once again, Interstate 20. Between mile markers 111 and 117 in portions of Interstate 26, you have a severe thunderstorm warning. We'll monitor that situation for reports of any sort of damage, but we're going to be focusing a lot, of course, on the tornado warnings that we have up across the area. I'm James Brierton. You are watching coverage from the Carolina Weather Group. What I'm doing right now is I'm checking in not only with the comments that many of you are leaving on our Facebook Live, our YouTube Periscope. We do appreciate those as well, too. I'm also checking in with the National Weather Service to see what storm information they are relaying. So bear with me just a moment. I'm going to lean out of frame and read some of this. So I'm reading the National Weather Service chat, which we have access to here at the Carolina Weather Group, along with National Weather Service officials. We also have emergency management in here, including folks from South Carolina, from Kershaw County, telling us that trees down, fire department dispatch there, State Road 331. And I think that was in the area we were just talking about, which helped prompt that severe thunderstorm warning. We are also monitoring some of the other things that they're saying as well, too. Some of these are unconfirmed reports, and I don't want to go to air with them just yet, but we do now have a new tornado warning for Lee County. So this is actually right back up into the same neck of the woods we were just talking about, and I think it's going to be not too far. If I've got my bearings here from Bishopville, Hartsville, Darlington, maybe even be in on this. It's a very small polygon once it appears on your screen here momentarily. I'm seeing it on our raw data coming in from the National Weather Service, and hopefully you'll be able to see it here on the screen momentarily. But what it is that we are looking at is a very brief potential spin up, and let's switch this to velocity mode to look at those winds to see if we can identify what it is the National Weather Service is talking about. Yeah, coming right out of Bishopville here on the southern portion of this severe thunderstorm warning, which is in yellow, we will have momentarily showing up on your screen a red polygon. That will indicate a short-lived tornado warning that we are looking at here. So we have several of these warnings now up across portions of the state. Again, all of this right now is taking place in South Carolina, but we can't rule out the chance that maybe we'll be looking at some storm activity back across portions of southern North Carolina later on today, but certainly we're just not there yet. Trying to put my own face on the right side of your screen, and we may or may not have that momentarily on the right side of your screen, but that's why you're seeing an empty box there. And there I am. Hello. As we are continuing to watch now. Here it is. Here's that tornado warning. It's very small outside Bishopsville, but if you're inside this 7 miles east and west and but 10 miles north and south, you need to be in your safe place, which complements perfectly what we were talking about before about the need to just be weather aware and be ready to move, because sometimes by the time these warnings get out, there's not a ton of lead time. And so if you're in this area right now, you want to be in your safe place, just like our own Melissa Griffin is in the Columbia area, because we do have a tornado warning now for Lee County, which goes until 7:15. So 18 minutes from now, you want to continue to stay in your safe place until we tell you more. We have tornado warning that is going to maybe be expiring here in the next few minutes. We'll wait to see if it gets continued. That's moving out of the Ridgeville area. This is closer to Charleston, which is for Berkeley for the next 3 minutes. We'll wait to see what the National Weather Service does there, but we really need to start turning our attention now back towards Columbia, because we have a very dangerous situation here unfolding. As we are looking here on the west side of Columbia along the interstate, take a look at this here. You see with this area of red and green come together, very closely together, very tight-knit. That is the area we're watching for the possibility of a tornado that could be coming in not too long, not only along the interstate here, but possibly into Red Bank, Lexington, Oak Grove, Springdale, and not too long after that, portions of western Columbia. And we have not only an extensive road network here, which is a good reminder that you're not going to want to be on the road, but we also have, for better or worse, the opportunity to use some of these cameras in the area to see what it is that we may be observing. So as I'm looking not only at radar, but also at our available camera network, I'm trying to identify which angle might give us the best perspective right now. So bear with me just a moment. It is obviously very dark outside. You don't need me to tell you that, but that will play into a little bit on what we are or aren't able to see on camera. But if nothing else, these cameras remind us how many people are still on the road right now. And on the right side of your screen, you're looking at Interstate 20 eastbound, mile marker 53. This is a tornado-warned area. The lens is very wet. That's why the lights are very blurry. But we are looking at a lot of people who are potentially in harm's way as a vehicle here goes by with its hazards on, another one behind it as well too, and actually a parade of vehicles here on the right side of the road, all with their hazards on, which by the way is dangerous in itself. Just get off the road, because if another vehicle comes up traveling at a faster speed than you, they may not see you. So it's not a good night for travel. It's a good night just to stay put or pull off, get a cup of coffee someplace that is a sturdy building, and we're going to be watching this situation here very closely over the course of the next few minutes or so. I'm going to go ahead and pop up radar full. I want to show you this situation without the distraction of the camera, because the camera gives us good perspective, but it is so dark that I'm not sure it's going to show us everything that we necessarily need. We do have an update from the National Weather Service in Columbia with regards to Lexington County, where we have a tornado warning because a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Red Bank, moving east at 40 miles an hour. Weather spotters have reported seeing a funnel cloud and downed trees were reported just south of Gilbert with this storm. So you can see here on our radar that as we look over the course of the last few minutes or so, we've got winds that moved through South Gilbert, and we're getting now reports after the tornado, the potential tornado here is now to the east of Gilbert. So folks at Gilbert are able to step outside safely and tell the National Weather Service that they do have debris there that includes downed trees. We don't know what type of trees just yet, but that is an early indication that we could, in fact, have some sort of dangerous situation playing out here. In Lexington County, South Carolina. I believe a moment ago I said Lee because we have Lexington County, South Carolina, but we also do have a Lee County that has a tornado warning here for the next few minutes as well, too. But we're watching this one here because it seems to be the strongest on radar. And I'm going to stop moving this for just a moment because I want to actually see if we can get an indication. We've got radar-indicated winds that range between 30 miles an hour and possibly 60 or 70 miles an hour. Yes, it says negative, but that just means that the winds are moving away from the radar. But even in other areas, we're continuing to see here on this velocity, the radar indicated winds, 20, 30 mile per hour winds. And this is an observation that is extremely close to the surface, only about 500 feet off the ground, because we're only about 10 miles or so from the radar in Columbia. So we're in a good position right now where we can actually see what's going on with radar. With the actual naked eye, we're probably not going to be able to see a whole lot, because even if we had sunlight, we've got just an intense amount of rain moving across the area, and that's what you can see here when we go ahead and start looking once again at the rainfall rates and the reflectivity. Is you have a ton of rain. So if you live in Lexington County, West Columbia, you need to be in your safe place. If you live in Columbia, you need to be standing by and getting ready to go to your safe place. We don't have a warning right now that includes downtown, but we do have a warning that includes Casey and West Columbia, as well as an extensive road network there. And I'm looking off the left side of my screen. Sorry, I'm leaning out. We've just got a wall of monitors here for updates from the National Weather Service in Columbia, because once again, they are getting now some indication that there could be some damage from the storm that was left behind as it came on through. I'm going to go ahead and take another look here at velocity, try to get an indication of where they think this potential tornado could be. And I think we can all see it almost clear of day here. And it's going to be right on in here. And it's going to be very, very quickly approaching Red Bank over the course of the next few minutes or so, because if I'm not mistaken, these storms are moving at 40 miles an hour. And so they're moving just slightly slower than you might if you were along the interstate yourself. And so you need to be in your safe place if you're watching or listening to us in Red Bank, because we have a tornado, potential tornado here that is radar indicated, and probably has just moved outside of any sort of camera angle I might be able to show you, but I'll briefly show you Interstate 20 here at exit 51 just to show you the shaking in the camera, which is giving us some indication of the winds and the heavy rain. As you can see, the amount of rain there on the screen that is kind of making our picture a little hard to see. I would not expect to see a tornado on a camera at this hour. It's just too dark outside. But certainly we're watching this situation very carefully, because we do have the indication from folks on the ground and cameras in the area, Interstate 20 here, mile marker 53, that we've got winds in the area that could cause damage. This camera is bouncing around quite a bit, actually. But just off the interstate where I had that radar image up a moment ago, we're looking at an area of circulation that is radar indicated near Red Bank. That we're going to be watching for the potential of further development here over the course of the next few minutes or so. But we do have a tornado warning right now for Lexington County, and we just got an update. You can actually see that circle that's still on your screen. That's where the area of circulation was at our last image, and now it's moved. It's moved even closer into the Red Bank area. And so you can see here that I am desperately trying to draw. There it goes. That is going to be in the area. Check out this camera once again. This is Interstate 20 and mile marker 53. We're bouncing around quite a bit, and we just lost the camera. We have actually are buffering to try to get that camera back. Could be any number of problems, but the most likely one, I would think, would be a power outage in the area. And so we'll wait to see if we do, in fact, get that back. Checking in with the National Weather Service, we did actually just get an update from some storm spotters in the area, Lexington County. We've got power lines down. Power lines down, Lexington County, Long Pond Road at 2-notch. So not only does that mean that we have potential, obviously, power outages in the area, but don't be going outside because it's dark. And if you're traveling, you're not going to be able to see down live power lines, and I don't think I need to explain to you why that's dangerous. We also have a storm report in from the National Weather Service in Columbia County. Reports of Well, this came in a little bit earlier, so we're going to circle back around to that as to not confuse anything. But right now, we're tracking a tornado warning coming into the Columbia area, and we just got an updated bulletin from the National Weather Service. This is for East Central Lexington County until 7:15. I'm reading it straight from the Weather Service, so I apologize. I'm reading on a screen here. But we do have a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located over Red Bank, moving east at 50 miles an hour, so slightly faster than it was before. Areas to be impacted include Lexington, West Columbia, Casey, Springdale, Oak Grove, Red Bank, St. Andrews, South Congaree, Pine Ridge, Riverbanks Zoo, Columbia Metro Airport, which I would expect would have some delays because of this, West Columbia Riverwalk, Casey Riverwalk, and other areas also include the Red Bank Sports Complex. So hopefully we don't have anybody outside of this hour as we're continuing to track a tornado warning for Lexington coming into Western Columbia Metro. I'm going to zoom this out because I want to take a quick survey to show you that the other tornado warnings have expired. The other tornado warnings have expired. We no longer have any warnings up for the Charleston area. We no longer have a tornado warning for Lee County, South Carolina, but we do now have two affiliated severe thunderstorm warnings stretching from McBee and Bishopsville into Darlington, and the threat there would be for damaging winds. You don't need to have a tornado, folks, to have damaging winds. A severe thunderstorm warning means damaging winds of at least 60 miles an hour. And let's look at this real briefly. I don't want to move too far from Columbia, but we'll use the Columbia radar here. We're looking at the winds still actually with this, and we're talking about 66 miles an hour seems to be the peak winds that I'm seeing as of this latest observation, but that is expected to fluctuate. 66 miles an hour is nothing to really joke around about. We start getting into the 70s, we start talking about tropical storm force winds and hurricane force winds. And so we're looking at winds right now, 66 miles an hour, just to give you an idea. What we are looking at here is a tornado warning. This is our main headline here at 7:06. We have a tornado warning for West Columbia metro area with an possible area of circulation that is right now on top of Red Bank. We're getting our own Melissa Griffin, who is reporting to the National Weather Service from her safe place, power flashes in Lexington. And so that could explain, A, why we lost that camera just moments ago, but B, also the potential for damage to area infrastructure. So it could be winds, tornado, or anything else that brought down branches and power lines. But Melissa Griffin telling us right now that we do have power flickering in the Lexington area. We also have emergency managers who are monitoring this situation as well too, where they are out standing by to assess damage, because like we told you a few minutes ago, if I widen this back out and I put this radar back into motion, this was a storm that came in from the west, and just off to the side of your screen is Gilbert, where we've got downed trees. And as the storm now moves into Red Bank and into the Columbia metro area, as the storm moves closer to Columbia and out of Red Bank, I would expect that folks in Lexington and Red Bank would be able to get us some information regarding damage in their area. I'm not asking you to do anything dangerous. I'm just asking that if you have anything to report and you can do so safely, you can report that to the National Weather Service by using hashtag SCWX. That's SCWX. This tornado warning is now being extended to include Richland County. So we have a tornado warning issued for Lexington and Richland County until 7:45. This has now been extended to go until 7:45. I would expect the imagery of the radar to update on your screen momentarily, but until it does, I'm going to read the bulletin from the National Weather Service to you. So we have a tornado warning for Lexington and Richland and South Carolina until 7:45. A severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado is located over Oak Grove, moving east at 45 miles an hour. We're going to be watching for downed trees, downed power lines, potential structural damage. So again, if you are in Lexington, if you are in Richland, you need to get inside a sturdy structure. Get inside, get off the road. Inside that structure, we want the lowest level possible, as central to the building as you can. We want as many walls between you and the outside as possible. If you got a basement, great. If you don't have a basement, we could be talking about some sort of interior closet, interior bathroom, and that might be, I don't know the layout of your house. You know the layout of your house. Find a thing that's got the most number of walls between you and the outside world, because we now have a tornado warning that goes until 7:45 and includes the Columbia metro area. So Columbia, West Columbia, Casey, Forest Acres, Springdale, Oak Grove, Riverbanks Zoo, Woodfield. What else we got in here? We got South Carolina State Fairgrounds. We got West Columbia Riverwalk. We got Fort Jackson. Again, I'm going to repeat that. Fort Jackson is now under a tornado warning by the National Weather Service. This also includes 5 Points and Rosewood, Fort Jackson Wildcat Road. Apparently that's a separate thing. It's listed separately. And Casey Riverwalk. We once again are talking about several interstates that you do not need to be driving on in the next 45 minutes, and that includes Interstate 126 between mile markers 1 and 3, Interstate 20 between mile marker 74 and 84, Interstate 26, Interstate 77. We got a lot of roads. They obviously all come together in the Columbia area, and we don't want you on any of them. National Weather Service is telling us a new warning issued as rotation continues to cycle within the cell. Strong support as cell moves along the boundary and strongest shear passing through the Columbia metro area right now. And that is exactly what we are watching here at 7:10 on Carolina Weather Group alert mode coverage of severe weather in the Carolinas. You may be watching us on our Facebook Live, YouTube, or Periscope, or on that of the South Carolina weather page maintained by our own friend and panelist Chris Jackson. We are watching now a tornado warning for the metropolitan area of Columbia. A storm moving into the area, moving right now out of Red Bank. It is very briefly going to actually disappear into that black hole that is on your screen there. That is the radar site itself, and then it should reemerge into West Columbia, Casey, and into the Columbia metro area. We will keep our fingers crossed, based on experience, that we don't lose the radar due to any sort of damage that might come through, because we already have damage coming in now from Gilbert, from when the storm moved through there half an hour ago of downed trees. In the next few minutes, I would anticipate as folks come out of their safe place in Lexington and Red Bank, not yet, that they'll be able to tell us whether or not they've got any damage there. And we should expect everyone in the Columbia metro area, including Casey, to be in their safe place. Because for the next 40 minutes or so, we've got a tornado-warned storm that is going to be moving through your area. And in case you're just tuning in, let me show you exactly where that is. I'm going to stop this from rotating. It's a little hard to see as we get really close now to the actual radar site. I'm circling it for you. And this is going to be moving this way, give or take, over the next 40 minutes or so. And I say give or take because everywhere from Dentsville off to the south, you're inside this polygon because the storm could go a little to the left, a little bit to the right. It's going to move a little. It's not going to travel in a straight line. And so that's why the National Weather Service, when they issue these polygons, you'll notice they get a little bit wider. Margin of error gets a little bit further out as we go through because they're watching this. Also watching the National Weather Service chat, the conversation between us and the media and the National Weather Service and emergency managers. And some of it we can take to air, some of it we can't. So I'm actually reading it right now in real time. National Weather Service saying strongest winds going just north of the airport. Strongest winds right now just north of the airport. I would expect that no planes are taking off or landing right now from the Columbia Metro Airport because it's hard to do that in storms like this. I want to see if actually I've got an alternate perspective for you, and I'm not sure I do. Let me see if I've got a terminal radar. Let me take this full for a moment. Let me close this out, and let me reopen that with the hope that the terminal radar might be available to us. I thought we had enabled that earlier in our settings. The terminal radar is one that is used at an airport primarily. Do we not have a terminal in Columbia? Maybe we don't have a terminal in Columbia. Maybe that's why I'm not seeing it. But I was hoping maybe we'd have an alternate radar to use because we really are now guesstimating at best where this area of rotation is because it's somewhere in that big black hole that is just too close to the radar to even be seen. And that's only going to be for the next few minutes or so. But as this moves through Oak Grove and Springdale, you need to be in your safe place. And let's see, just out of curiosity, what our radar in Greenville, Spartanburg does, and that's too far away. It's just too far away. Columbia, Charleston, you're too far away too. All right, we're going to wait for it to reemerge on radar. And I'm I'm not familiar on where the radar is versus the actual Columbia Weather Service office. They must be pretty close together, because I'm seeing in chat right now conversation between the National Weather Service in Columbia and the National Weather Service in Greenville, Spartanburg. Because like I just mentioned a moment ago, I'm keeping my fingers crossed that as this potential tornado and the heaviest of the winds move through the area where the radar is, that we don't cause any damage to the radar or even just the electrical network that's powering it that would cause us to lose that, which is what the National Weather Service is preparing for as well, too, because they just confirmed with their colleagues to the north in Greenville, Spartanburg, that if for any reason they were to go offline in Columbia, tornado warnings and updates would continue to be issued for the Columbia area from the sister office in Greenville, Spartanburg. So just like they're working together, you're watching this coverage from the Carolina Weather Group on the Facebook page, maintained by our friend Chris Jackson of South Carolina Weather. And he is actually storm chasing. He is trusting us to get the information out to you, and he was sharing with us information from the area of Georgia and Alabama, where they just had some very devastating, fatal tornadoes move through Georgia and Alabama earlier today. Outside of Columbus, the Lee County area, Smith stations between Columbus and Auburn, initial reports of at least 10 deaths, unfortunately, from some wicked tornadoes that came on through there. Lots of power lines down is what we're hearing right now back in the Columbia area. We're beginning to get reports. We're trying to get a clarification on exactly where those power lines are down in the Columbia area. You can see we've dropped the one polygon. So Lexington and Red Bank are no longer in this tornado warning, but the tornado warning, which will go for the next 45 minutes or so, is now going to include the Columbia metro area. And I'm going to find a way to get us some of these cameras on the screen because there's a couple things here. We're waiting for the main area of circulation to reemerge from the radar black hole. Should do that momentarily. But you may also be noticing that we've got something. I don't know what. We got something back up here to the north between West Columbia and St. Andrews. And I'm looking at an area of green, and I'm looking at a bright area of red and almost white that is appearing on the radar there. Winds of 60, 65, 69 miles an hour. Whether that is a tornado or whether that is just some damaging wind, all of this is playing out right now in the Columbia metro area. And we will, of course, continue to keep an eye on that. Over the course of the next few minutes, we do have an update from the National Weather Service in Columbia. Happy to see they're still online. I would even anticipate that they are issuing these warnings. I don't know this for sure, but I would think they're in a safe place. Because just like you at home need to be in a safe place, these are, of course, human beings as well, too, who need to be in a safe place away from potential injury. We're continuing to watch a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado over northeastern Lexington and central Richland counties. This is moving east at 40 miles an hour. This warning goes until 7:45 or so. And once again, this is radar indicated. Radar indicated. We don't have any confirmation at this point that anything is on the ground, but we do have the chance of seeing one, especially with this radar data that's coming to us so close to the surface. We did have a report earlier of a wall cloud that was just before the storm itself got to Lexington and Red Bank. I think that was closer to Gilbert. So we do have a tornado warned cell now just moving into Columbia area. And matter of fact, we've got a ton of road networks here. And just take a look at this with me. Real time here. We got to just update here. We got 40 mile per hour winds moving now just south of St. Andrews, coming into the Columbia area, West Columbia, down towards KC, 30 mile per hour winds. If I put this into motion here, you can see how this has been playing out over the course of the last few minutes or so. And it's hard for me to tell right now because this is where the radar is, and the radar can't see itself, whether or not the area of rotation that we were watching, which was lasting about here in some of these frames that start to disappear into the black hole. I'm watching something up here that's catching my eye, and I'm waiting to see if something else comes back out, whether we got one or two areas. But either way, we do have a tornado warning, and however you want to slice and dice it, if you're in this area, you need to be in your safe place, lowest level of your flow of your home, essentially located as possible. As we are continuing to monitor this situation, and do thank those of you who are watching on Facebook Live this evening. As we continue to monitor this situation, we will continue to bring you updates as we have them. I'm going to try to see what we can see on the ground. We lost a couple of the cameras in Lexington area as the storm came on through, and I'm waiting to see now what the situation is with cameras elsewhere across the area. It's obviously very dark outside. You don't need me to tell you that. So our visibility will be limited, but this caught my eye. We're taking now a live look. This is Interstate 126 at the Interstate 26 flyover here. We've got some police activity off to the shoulder. No idea what it's about, other than the fact that they are going to be impacted by some severe weather here in the next few minutes. So if this is a situation that they can get cleaned up and moved off the road quickly, hopefully they do that, because this is not the place you want to be. You do not want to be outside as this comes rolling on through. Let's see here. We mentioned a few moments ago that our own Melissa Griffin is in the Lexington area and was taking shelter. I'm going to send her a message here to see if we can get confirmation of how they're doing. Hopefully this message gets to them. We're also hoping that everyone is safe across the area. Also hoping that some of our other panelists from across the area may be able to chime in as we're continuing to watch this unfolding weather situation play out. We got reports of damage coming in from Melissa Griffin in the Lexington area, who says that was close. And reports of damage right now in the Lexington area. We'll hopefully get some more specifics on that when it is safe to do so. But we do right now have a tornado warning in effect for Columbia Metro that goes for the next 25 minutes or so. I'm not seeing any sort of other areas of circulation coming back out from that little black hole we were dealing with. So I think what we're going to be watching very closely here is some very strong winds now moving into the Columbia area. And I'm going to go ahead and pop my own ugly mug back on the screen for you for a moment, because I need to glance at the National Weather Service chat, which is on my monitor that is sharing duties with the DOT camera. National Weather Service is telling us right now, just like I was just showing you, and we got it circled on your screen, that they are concerned, as are we, that the northern portion of the tornado warning right now, moving parallel to I-20, that circulation has taken over right now. However, new circulation can still form on the southeastern flank, so everyone in the warning still needs to be in shelter. Let me make this explicitly clear. If you're looking at the tornado warning, Dennisville, Arcadia Lakes, Woodfield, Forest Acres, and Columbia, you need to be in your safe place right now. Because what we watched play out over the course of the last few minutes or so is an area of circulation that went over Red Bank, came into Springdale, disappeared into our little radar black hole, a mile or so around the radar that we can't see, and when it came back out, we thought it was going to come back out in Casey. If that same area of circulation had continued, it would come right back out in Casey. It moved. It is now still within the tornado warning, but on the northern edge of that tornado warning, circled on your screen here, Columbia, Forest Acres, Arcadia Lakes, Woodfield, Dennisville. That is the area that we are watching right now, and as the National Weather Service said a moment ago, watching for the possibility that another tornado, another area of circulation could still develop, which again is a perfect example of why this is the shape that it is. So we've got an area of circulation near Interstate 20. And you can still see that even further to the south, we're watching for the areas of more potential rotation. 7:24 right now, Carolina Weather Group. We are going to be getting a redrawn tornado warning in the metro area of Columbia in just a moment. I will show it to you. We have no other tornado warnings elsewhere in the state right now. So if you're watching elsewhere in the state right now, wondering why I'm only talking about Columbia, that is because that's the only area that we have a tornado warning. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning. That is to the west of Florence, but it expires momentarily. And we've got a special marine warning off the coast of Hilton Head. Glance at that just to see real fast what it's got in here. As I suspected, they're watching there, and I'm going to show this to you real fast as we wait for the redrawn polygon in Columbia. This is a bulletin that goes out over the water. Why is that important? Hopefully you're not watching us from a boat. We were watching for the capability of some water spouts, which would be, for all intents and purposes, a tornado, an area of circulation over the water. And you can see one of those potential water spouts off of Paris Island, off Hilton Head Island. And the reason that we're watching that is because sometimes a water spout can come on land. Sometimes a tornado can go off. It can go back and forth. But that's why they issued this special marine warning. And so, although we don't hopefully have any population other than fish inside this special marine warning, we're still seeing areas of rotation. And so you would not issue a tornado warning over the ocean. You issue this special marine warning. That's why I wanted to glance at that real fast to see what it was exactly we were talking about, because sometimes the special marine warning could be used for any variety of things, and so it is, in fact, for water spouts, which is why we will need to watch that very carefully. Let's go back up to Columbia, shall we? And we're waiting now to find out what exactly is the situation. We have a number of cameras that we can show you, that I'm going to begin to show you. And while I do that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the radar down in the corner because I don't want to lose it. I want to be able to watch what is going on. But I'm going to start first with a camera that I believe is in downtown Charleston from the USGS to see what the situation is there. And I'm going to go ahead and put it into motion. Pop it up on your screen. You can actually see that the camera is being moved right now. It's being moved around. And what I want to first show you, of course, is just look at all of that water. That is a creek going through there. Canal, I believe, of sorts. And whether it's the USGS themselves or someone else moving this camera around, that water is still within its banks, but is moving very quickly. We got a lot of water falling. And it is elevated. I would say it's elevated from where we've seen it at other instances. Take a look at the roadway here. I believe we actually see an individual with a flashlight walking in the center of your screen. But we obviously have very wet roads, heavy rain, still falling right now in Columbia. And we're going to be watching, of course, for the potential that we not only have damage from a potential tornado or damaging wind. I'm just going to go ahead and tell this to please keep streaming. But we also have the situation with the pure volume of water that is falling, as you saw in the waterway there a moment ago. I'm not sure who that individual is that is walking around in the frame, but he appears to be wearing yellow reflective material and a flashlight, which I'll go ahead and conclude is some sort of official. And so I'd be curious to know what it is that he is looking for or at, but he may just be checking the same thing that we're checking, which is the extent of the situation there. Okay, come back to that camera in a little bit to find out what the situation is there in downtown Columbia. We do have a tornado warning right now. The area of circulation, I would say, is not as distinct as it once was. But we are starting to get reports of some damage. So as the tornado warning goes for another 16 minutes or so for Richland County, it was in areas of Lexington County not too long ago, and we're starting to get initial reports of damage. Old Orangeburg Road in Lexington County, the emergency officials telling the National Weather Service and us relaying to you that several vehicles have reportedly been damaged there by whatever it was that came on through. I'm going to take a look at what you're saying on our Facebook Live, YouTube, and Periscope chats. Allie says, thanks for keeping us informed. Thank you, Allie, for tuning in. You don't have cable, and you rely on the Carolina Weather Group during a severe weather coverage to keep you informed. And you watch us on your Fire TV stick on your television. So we appreciate that very much, Allie. We appreciate you sending that in to let us know you do appreciate the coverage we're doing here. And if anyone else has information they want to share with us or officials and are in a position they can safely do so, you can do that by putting to the chat on our Facebook Live, YouTube, or Periscope. If you're on Twitter, you can actually tweet directly to the National Weather Service with hashtag SCWX. National Weather Service is getting more reports from Edgefield County of trees down and damage, and they will be doing storm survey work in that area tomorrow. Reports are continuing to filter in, and they're purely getting a large volume of them, as you could imagine, and so they're going to be sifting through those. Edgefield County, if I'm not mistaken, we've been all over the state today, but that was further to the south because as we came on the air some, 2 hours ago, we had reporting and warnings all along Orangeburg County, Blacksville area, Branchville. We even had at least one tornado just outside the Charleston area earlier in Somerville, and one even up towards Lee County. We are now just being told from the National Weather Service that the tornado warning in the Columbia area is going to be allowed to expire. They're canceling it because, as you can see here on radar, the area of circulation is not well defined. But we do have a situation that is going to take a few minutes to assess across the greater Columbia area with regards to reports of damage and power outages that are still coming in, and we still have a ton of water that is still trying to find its way through the system here. That is a problem not only the Columbia will be facing, but so much of the Carolinas tonight is already saturated, and we're beginning to get even more water falling from the sky, and so that is something the system is going to have to cope with. We will be taking a break in the next few minutes, but not just yet, because I do want to show you some other cameras across the area right now. Right now, you're looking at this camera from the United States Geological Survey. Those are the folks, and this is the camera that might help them determine whether or not they needed to issue any sort of flood bulletin. This is an area that often does flood in Columbia when they get an excess amount of rain. We can still see blacktop. We can still see the roadway there, which is certainly good news. And so we don't have any sort of flood advisories or other words right now. We do have some other cameras that I'm going to go ahead and pop up in the next moment here across the area. We are again looking at Interstate 126 at Interstate 26 flyover. That police activity is still off to the shoulder there. What that police activity is, I'm not sure. Whether that's weather related or something else, I don't know. We'll wait to find out here momentarily. I'm just going to have you join me here. I know you can see my web browser, but I want to just quickly click around a little bit to see what, in fact, we may have across the area right now. This is an Interstate 77 camera where we can see at exit 19 heavy rain continuing to fall right now. Interstate 77, exit 19, with a collision reported in the area. Another vehicle going by at the top of your screen with its hazard on, indicating to us that they're moving pretty slowly because of the road conditions there. And let me go ahead and change this radar to actually just show you reflectivity, because I want to show you some of this heavy rain right now that is coming across Interstate 77 at Deadsville and Woodfield and such. Some of the heaviest rain is moving across now just out of the Columbia metro area. Matter of fact, as we can actually now begin to see the back end of this rain. So whether you're watching from Charlotte, North Carolina, where I am, down towards Columbia into the Augusta area, the heaviest rain will begin to move out, with the heaviest rain now pushing into other portions of the Midland, other portions of the Low Country, Florence. You're seeing some heavy rain. Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and take this camera full if I can. This is Interstate 77, exit 19, just outside the Columbia area. And a moment ago, you could just see a ton of rain falling in the sky. Another vehicle with his hazards on here. And so just a ton of rain. Keep it slow out there on the roads. Matter of fact, if you have any optional travel, maybe wait until this rolls on through, because the heaviest of rain will be out of the Columbia metro area in the next few minutes. We still have a healthy amount of rain that is going to be pushing back through Charleston, Georgetown, Garden City, Myrtle Beach, into the Wilmington area in the next few minutes or so. And not only is it the wind, but it's not only is it the rain, but it's the wind as well too. You can see this camera bounce around quite a bit as we're continuing to get reports of damage across the area from some of the severe weather that was moving on through. I'm taking a look at some of the information coming on through here. Nothing to relay onto the air just yet, but we are getting reports of some vehicles being damaged and some initial reports of the potential potential for some structural damage that Chris Jackson is learning from his contacts that he has garnered over the years from running his South Carolina weather page. Some of you may be watching us tonight on that page. I was going to move away from this camera. It just moved slightly, so I wasn't sure if there's an operator at the South Carolina Department of Transportation that maybe was going to be trying to show us something. Which is always the potential that we catch them actually moving these cameras around. But just take a look at all of this rain here as I take a quick glance at the National Weather Service chat. So starting to tell us here that rotation starting to develop, says our friend John Q with the National Weather Service, again in Richland County. This is storm tracking along the boundary and appears to be cycling once again. They may need a new tornado warning shortly. In just a few minutes. They do now have out across the Columbia metro area a severe thunderstorm warning for some of those heavy rains and heavy wind we were just seeing there on that camera. I know we have a lot of you watching right now from across the area, and we do appreciate that. What I'm going to do, because I've been talking for about 2.5 hours now, is I'm going to take just a momentary break. We have no tornado warnings right now. I know the National Weather Service is watching, and we're going to be watching closely as well, too. We have just that one severe thunderstorm warning. I'm going to just grab a quick glass of water, if you don't mind. I'm going to leave you with this radar and this camera at Interstate 77. I'm also going to go ahead and give you some NOAA weather radio. We don't have one accessible to us directly from Columbia, but we do have one in Rock Hill, which is going to be, for better or worse, the closest we can get. And I just ask you to bear with me for maybe about 2-3 minutes while I go get a glass of water and take a quick break while we do have no tornado warnings on the screen, because we won't be missing anything of that magnitude, and we'll be back if we get a tornado warning or in just a moment or two. But I'm going to catch my breath. You're watching severe weather coverage from the Carolina Weather Group.
Tuesday night, mostly clear. Cold blows in the mid-20s. Northwest winds 5 to 10 miles an hour. The extended forecast for the listening area. Wednesday, sunny. Highs in the mid-40s. Wednesday night, mostly clear. Lows in the mid-20s. Thursday, mostly sunny. Highs in the lower 50s. Thursday night, partly cloudy until midnight, then mostly cloudy with a chance of rain showers after midnight. Lows in the mid-30s. Chance of rain 30%. Friday, mostly cloudy with a 40% chance of rain showers. Highs in the mid-50s. Friday night, mostly cloudy with a 40% chance of showers. Lows in the lower 40s. Saturday, mostly cloudy with a 40% chance of showers. Highs in the mid-60s. Saturday night, mostly cloudy with a 50% chance of showers. Lows in the upper 40s. Sunday, showers likely. A chance of thunderstorms in the morning, then thunderstorms likely in the afternoon. Highs in the mid-60s. Chance of rain 70%. The Charlotte, North Carolina climate summary for this evening as of 4 p.m., March 3rd, 2019. Today's high temperature of 55 degrees occurred at 12:17 a.m. The record high is 84 degrees, which was set in 1976. Today's low temperature of 51 occurred at 2:40 p.m. The record low is 4 degrees, which was set in 1980. 0.15 inches of precipitation fell today, which brings the monthly total to 1.16 inches. The total precipitation for the year now stands at 11.70 inches. Sunset tonight is at 6:21 p.m. Sunrise tomorrow is at 6:50 a.m. This is the NOAA Weather Radio All Hazards, KHC 27, broadcasting from the SDE-TV tower near Rock Hill, South Carolina, operating on a frequency of 162.425 megahertz. This transmitter is serving Rock Hill and the Charlotte metropolitan area and the surrounding Piedmont of the Carolinas. The current time is 7:38 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. These are the 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time observations for the Carolinas on Sunday, March 3rd. At Rock Hill Airport, rain and fog were reported. The temperature was 48 degrees, the dew point 48, and the relative humidity 100%. The wind was variable at 5 miles an hour. The pressure was 29.74 inches and falling. At Charlotte, rain and fog were reported. The temperature was 48 degrees, the dew point 46, and the relative humidity 93%. The wind was north at 7 miles an hour. The pressure was 29.75 inches and steady. At Gastonia, light rain was falling. The temperature was 48 degrees. At Monroe, heavy rain and fog were reported. The temperature was 49 degrees. Elsewhere in North Carolina, rain was falling with a temperature of 45 at Shelby and 44 at Statesville. It was cloudy with a temperature of 44 at Hickory, 57 at Fayetteville, and 50 at Asheville. At Greensboro, rain and fog were reported with a temperature of 43. In South Carolina, at Greenville-Spartanburg, rain was falling with a temperature of 49. At Greenwood, rain and fog were reported with a temperature of 54. At Columbia, rain and fog were reported with a temperature of 65. At Charleston, rain and fog were reported with a temperature of 65. Once again at 7 p.m., at the Rock Hill Airport, it was 48 degrees rain and fog were reported. In Charlotte, it was 48 degrees rain and fog were reported. This is Severe Weather Preparedness Week in North Carolina. Families and individuals, as well as employers and other organizations, are urged to use weather preparedness materials to devise their own severe weather safety plans. If you already have a plan in place, you are encouraged to use this opportunity to review your procedures and perform drills and exercises based upon your plan. To support this effort, the National Weather Service, in conjunction with North Carolina Emergency Management, will conduct the state tornado drill on Wednesday, March 6th at around 9:30 a.m. The National Weather Service will activate the monthly test of the Emergency Alert System via NOAA radio for all North Carolina counties at this time. For more information on severe weather, including safety information, visit our website at weather.gov/GSP. This is a river flood product for the following counties in South Carolina: Fairfield and Lancaster. The flood warning continues for the Wateree River at Lake Wateree until further notice, or until the warning is canceled. At 7 a.m. Sunday, the stage was 100.7 feet. Flood stage is 100.0 feet. Minor flooding is occurring and minor flooding is forecast. Forecast: the river will rise to around 101.5 feet by after midnight Tuesday morning. Additional rises may be possible thereafter. At 100.5 feet, several yards and docks and low-lying areas around Lake Wateree begin to flood. At 100.4 feet, the water begins to overflow one or more marinas along the northwest shores. The piers on the Wildlife Road Bridge over Singleton Creek become submerged. Now here is the hazardous weather outlook for northeast Georgia, Piedmont, North Carolina, western North Carolina, and upstate South Carolina. For today and tonight, a cold front will bring periods of moderate to heavy rain across the western Carolinas and northeast Georgia this morning through the evening. Hogging of water in urban areas is possible, and isolated streams may reach or exceed bankful levels. Isolated to scattered thunderstorms are also possible during the afternoon and evening hours, mainly south of Interstate 85. A couple of these storms may become strong enough to produce damaging winds and large hail. A weak tornado or two will also be possible. Spotters are requested to forward any reports of large hail, damaging winds, tornadoes, or flooding to our office. Now for the official National Weather Service forecast for Rock Hill and vicinity. Tonight, showers with a slight chance of thunderstorms until midnight. Areas of fog until midnight, then patchy fog after midnight. Lows in the lower 40s. Northwest winds 5 to 10 miles an hour. Chance of rain near 100%. Monday, mostly sunny. Highs in the lower 50s. Northwest winds 5 to 10 miles an hour. Monday night, mostly cloudy. Lows in the lower 30s. North winds around 5 miles an hour. Tuesday, mostly cloudy in the morning, then becoming mostly sunny. Highs in the upper 40s. North winds around 5 miles an hour, becoming west in the afternoon. Tuesday night, mostly clear. Cold with lows in the mid-20s. Northwest winds 5 to 10 miles an hour. The extended forecast for the listening area. Wednesday, sunny. Highs in the mid-40s. Wednesday night, mostly clear. Lows in the mid-20s. Thursday, mostly sunny. Highs in the lower 50s. Thursday night, partly cloudy until midnight, then mostly cloudy with a chance of rain showers after midnight. Lows in the mid-30s. Chance of rain 30%. Friday, mostly cloudy with a 40% chance of rain showers. Highs in the mid-50s. Friday night, mostly cloudy with a 40% chance of showers. Lows in the lower 40s. Saturday, mostly cloudy with a 40% chance of showers. Highs in the mid-60s. Saturday night, mostly cloudy with a 50% chance of showers. Lows in the upper 40s. Sunday, showers likely. A chance of thunderstorms in the morning, then thunderstorms likely in the afternoon. Highs in the mid-60s. Chance of rain 70%. The Charlotte, North Carolina climate summary for this evening as of 4 p.m., March 3rd, 2019. Today's high temperature of 55 degrees occurred at 12:17 a.m. The record high is 84 degrees, which was set in 1976. Today's low temperature of 51 occurred at 2:40 p.m. The record low is 4 degrees, which was set in 1980. 0.15 inches of precipitation fell today, which brings the monthly total to 1.16 inches. The total precipitation for the year now stands at 11.70 inches. Sunset tonight is at 6:21 p.m. Sunrise tomorrow is at 6:50 a.m. This is the NOAA Weather Radio All Hazards, KHC-27, broadcasting from the SCE-TV tower near Rock Hill, South Carolina, operating on a frequency of 162.425 megahertz. This transmitter is serving Rock Hill and the Charlotte metropolitan area and the surrounding Piedmont of the Carolinas. The current time is 7:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. These are the 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time observations for the Carolinas on Sunday, March 3rd. At Rock Hill Airport, rain and fog were reported. The temperature was 48 degrees, the dew point 48, and the relative humidity 100%. The wind was variable at 5 miles an hour. The pressure was 29.74 inches and falling. At Charlotte, rain and fog were reported. The temperature was 48 degrees, the dew point 46, and the relative humidity 93%. The wind was north at 7 miles an hour. The pressure was 29.75 inches and steady. At Gastonia, light rain was falling. The temperature was 48 degrees. At Monroe, heavy rain and fog were reported. The temperature was 49 degrees. Elsewhere in North Carolina, rain was falling with a temperature of 45 at Shelby and 44 at Statesville. It was cloudy with a temperature of 44 at Hickory, 57 at Fayetteville, and 50 at Asheville. At Greensboro, rain and fog were reported with a temperature of 43. In South Carolina, at Greenville-Spartanburg, rain was falling with a temperature of 49. At Greenwood, rain and fog were reported with a temperature of 54. At Columbia, rain and fog were reported with a temperature of 65. At Charleston, rain and fog were reported with a temperature of 65. Once again at 7 p.m. at the Rock Hill Airport, it was 48 degrees rain and fog were reported. In Charlotte, it was 48 degrees rain and fog were reported. This is Severe Weather Preparedness Week in North Carolina. Families and individuals, as well as employers and other organizations, are urged to use weather preparedness materials to devise their own severe weather safety plans. If you already have a plan in place, you are encouraged to use this opportunity to review your procedures and perform drills and exercises based upon your plan. To support this effort, the National Weather Service, in conjunction with North Carolina Emergency Management, will conduct the state tornado drill on Wednesday, March 6th at around 9:30 a.m. The National Weather Service will activate the monthly test of the Emergency Alert System via NOAA Weather Radio for all North Carolina counties at this time. For more information on severe weather, including safety information, visit our website at weather.gov/GSP. This is a river flood product for the following counties in South Carolina: Fairfield and Lancaster. The flood warning continues for the Wateree River at Lake Wateree until further notice, or until the warning is canceled. At 7 a.m. Sunday, the stage was 100.7 feet. Flood stage is 100.0 feet. Minor flooding is occurring and minor flooding is forecast. Forecast. The river will rise to around 101.5 feet by after midnight Tuesday morning. Additional rises may be possible thereafter. At 100.5 feet, several yards and docks in low-lying areas around Lake Wateree begin to flood. At 100.4 feet, the water begins to overflow one or more marinas along the northwest shores. The piers on the Wildlife Road Bridge over Singleton Creek become submerged. Now here is the hazardous weather outlook for northeast Georgia, Piedmont, North Carolina, western North Carolina, and upstate South Carolina. For today and tonight, a cold front will bring periods of moderate to heavy rain across the western Carolinas and northeast Georgia this morning through the evening. Ponding of water in urban areas is possible, and isolated streams may reach or exceed bankful levels. Isolated to scattered thunderstorms are also possible during the afternoon and evening hours, mainly south of Interstate 85. A couple of these storms may become strong enough to produce damaging winds and large hail. A weak tornado or two will also be possible. Spotters are requested to forward any reports of large hail, damaging winds, tornadoes, or flooding to our office. Now for the official National Weather Service forecast for Rock Hill and vicinity. Tonight, showers with a slight chance of thunderstorms until midnight. Areas of fog until midnight, then patchy fog after midnight. Lows in the lower 40s. Northwest winds 5 to 10 miles an hour. Chance of rain near 100%. Monday, mostly sunny. Highs in the lower 50s. Northwest winds 5 to 10 miles an hour. Monday night, mostly cloudy. Lows in the lower 30s. North winds around 5 miles an hour. Tuesday, mostly cloudy in the morning, then becoming mostly sunny. Highs in the upper 40s. North winds around 5 miles an hour, becoming west in the afternoon. Tuesday night, mostly clear. Cold with lows in the mid-20s. Northwest winds 5 to 10 miles an hour. The extended forecast for the listening area. Wednesday, sunny. Highs in the mid-40s. Wednesday night, mostly clear. Lows in the mid-20s. Thursday, mostly sunny. Highs in the lower 50s. Thursday night, partly cloudy until midnight, then mostly cloudy with a chance of rain showers after midnight. Lows in the mid-30s. Chance of rain 30%. Friday, mostly cloudy with a 40% chance of rain showers. Highs in the mid-50s. Friday night, mostly cloudy with a
7:52, James Brierton with you. Carolina Weather Group alert coverage of severe weather moving through the Carolinas. Hopping back on the air to confirm for you, the good news right now is that we have no active warnings in the Carolinas. We don't have any severe thunderstorm warnings. We don't have any tornado warnings. The only thing we do have is that special marine statement off the coast of Savannah, Hilton Head, coming into Edisto Beach. So other than the fish, no severe weather right now that we're tracking. We're still tracking a ton of rain, a lot of rain, which is why I want to go back real fast to that camera we have in Columbia from the USGS. Let me take that back off the air and hit play, if you wouldn't mind. Let's go ahead and hit play on that, because I just want to show you that rushing water there to, again, signify about how much water is falling and still falling across portions of the Carolinas. And once it does so, we'll need to run off and go someplace. And so we'll continue to monitor that as well, too. The other thing I will briefly mention is while we have no warnings on the air right now, we are beginning to get some information about storm reports and damages from back across the western half of the Columbia metropolitan area, because certainly we had just a ton of weather come rolling through there, as you know from watching our coverage over the course of the last few minutes or so. So checking in with the National Weather Service, what they are telling us, along with emergency officials, is that not only do they have reports of downed trees and power lines across portions of Lexington County, the fire officials are also out on scene right now responding to a couple 911 calls, including the possibility of a possible entrapment in Red Bank. So there could be someone who's trapped in some sort of structure, vehicle, or otherwise that needs some assistance following this severe weather. We don't have any more information on that right now. But we do have reports of power lines And again, some initial reports of downed trees and possibly at least one rescue underway right now in Lexington County. We'll learn more as the evening does continue to go on. As we come up to the 8 o'clock hour, again, we have no warnings active for the Carolinas, which means that we will continue to go into standby mode. You'll be listening to NOAA weather radio, you'll be looking at sky cams, you'll be looking at radar, and then myself or some other host from the Carolina Weather Group will be back on the air as the weather conditions warrant. So if we get a tornado warning or anything of significance to pass along to you, we will certainly be back on the air. We do appreciate you watching our coverage thus far tonight of the Carolina Weather Group here on March the 3rd, 2019. So stand by with us, and along with you at home, we'll continue to monitor the weather here because we do have a slight risk of severe weather. That's the official classification from the Storm Prediction Center, and that goes on through the rest of the night, mainly for the Midlands and the low country of South Carolina. This is the Carolina Weather Group.
.425 megahertz. This transmitter is serving Rock Hill and the Charlotte metropolitan area and the surrounding Piedmont of the Carolinas. The current time is 7:54 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. These are the 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time observations for the Carolinas on Sunday, March 3rd. At Rock Hill Airport, rain and fog were reported. The temperature was 48 degrees, the dew point 48, and the relative humidity 100%. The wind was variable at 5 miles an hour. The pressure was 29.74 inches and falling. At Charlotte, rain and fog were reported. The temperature was 48 degrees, the dew point 46, and the relative humidity 93%. The wind was north at 7 miles an hour. The pressure was 29.75 inches and steady. At Gastonia, light rain was falling. The temperature was 48 degrees. At Monroe, heavy rain and fog were reported. The temperature was 49 degrees. Elsewhere in North Carolina, rain was falling with a temperature of 45 at Shelby and 44 at Statesville. It was cloudy with a temperature of 44 at Hickory, 57 at Fayetteville, and 50 at Asheville. At Greensboro, rain and fog were reported with a temperature of 43. In South Carolina, at Greenville-Spartanburg, rain was falling with a temperature of 49. At Greenwood, rain and fog were reported with a temperature of 54. At Columbia, rain and fog were reported with a temperature of 65. At Charleston, rain and fog were reported with a temperature of 65. Once again at 7 p.m., at the Rock Hill Airport, it was 48 degrees rain and fog were reported. In Charlotte, it was 48 degrees rain and fog were reported. This is Severe Weather Preparedness Week in North Carolina. Families and individuals, as well as employers and other organizations, are urged to use weather preparedness materials to devise their own severe weather safety plans. If you already have a plan in place, you are encouraged to use this opportunity to review your procedures and perform drills and exercises based upon your plan. To support this effort, the National Weather Service, in conjunction with North Carolina Emergency Management, will conduct the state tornado drill on Wednesday, March 6th at around 9:30 a.m. The National Weather Service will activate the monthly test of the Emergency Alert System via NOAA Weather Radio for all North Carolina counties at this time. For more information on severe weather, including safety information, visit our website at weather.gov/GSP. This is a river flood product for the following counties in South Carolina, Fairfield, and Lancaster. The flood warning continues for the Wateree River at Lake Wateree until further notice, or until the warning is canceled. At 7 a.m. Sunday, the stage was 100.7 feet. Flood stage is 100.0 feet. Minor flooding is occurring and minor flooding is forecast. Forecast: the river will rise to around 101.5 feet by after midnight Tuesday morning. Additional rises may be possible thereafter. At 100.5 feet, several yards and docks in low-lying areas around Lake Wateree begin to flood. At 100.4 feet, the water begins to overflow one or more marinas along the northwest shores. The piers on the Wildlife Road Bridge over Singleton Creek become submerged. Now here is the hazardous weather outlook for northeast Georgia, Piedmont, North Carolina, western North Carolina, and upstate South Carolina. for today and tonight. A cold front will bring periods of moderate to heavy rain across the western Carolinas and northeast Georgia this morning through the evening. Ponding of water in urban areas is possible, and isolated streams may reach or exceed bank levels. Isolated to scattered thunderstorms are also possible during the afternoon and evening hours, mainly south of Interstate 85. A couple of these storms may become strong enough to produce damaging winds and large hail. A weak tornado or two will also be possible. Spotters are requested to forward any reports of large hail, damaging winds, tornadoes, or flooding to our office. Now for the official National Weather Service forecast for Rock Hill and vicinity. Tonight, showers with a slight chance of thunderstorms until midnight. Areas of fog until midnight, then patchy fog after midnight. Lows in the lower 40s. Northwest wind 5 to 10 miles an hour. Chance of rain near 100%. Monday, mostly sunny. Highs in the lower 50s. Northwest wind 5 to 10 miles an hour. Monday night, mostly cloudy. Lows in the lower 30s. North winds around 5 miles an hour. Tuesday, mostly cloudy in the morning, then becoming mostly sunny. Highs in the upper 40s. North winds around 5 miles an hour, becoming west in the afternoon. Tuesday night, mostly clear. Cold with lows in the mid-20s. Northwest wind 5 to 10 miles an hour. The extended forecast for the listening area. Wednesday, sunny. Highs in the mid-40s. Wednesday night, mostly clear. Lows in the mid-20s. Thursday, mostly sunny. Highs in the lower 50s. Thursday night, partly cloudy until midnight, then mostly cloudy with a chance of rain showers after midnight. Lows in the mid-30s. Chance of rain 30%. Friday, mostly cloudy with a 40% chance of rain showers. Highs in the mid-50s. Friday night, mostly cloudy with a 40% chance of showers. Lows in the lower 40s. Saturday, mostly cloudy with a 40% chance of showers. Highs in the mid-60s. Saturday night, mostly cloudy with a 50% chance of showers. Lows in the upper 40s. Sunday, showers likely. A chance of thunderstorms in the morning, then thunderstorms likely in the afternoon. Highs in the mid-60s. Chance of rain 70%. The Charlotte, North Carolina climate summary for this evening as of 4 p.m., March 3rd, 2019. Today's high temperature of 55 degrees occurred at 12:17 a.m. The record high is 84 degrees, which was set in 1976. Today's low temperature of 51 occurred at 2:40 p.m. The record low is 4 degrees, which was set in 1980. 0.15 inches of precipitation fell today, which brings the monthly total to 1.16 inches. The total precipitation for the year now stands at 11.70 inches. Sunset tonight is at 6:21 p.m. Sunrise tomorrow is at 6:50 a.m. This is the NOAA Weather Radio, all hazards, KHC 27, broadcasting from the SVE-TV tower near Rock Hill, South Carolina, operating on a frequency of 162.425 megahertz. This transmitter is serving Rock Hill and the Charlotte metropolitan area and the surrounding Piedmont of the Carolinas. The current time is 8:02 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. These are the 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time observations for the Carolinas on Sunday, March 3rd. At Rock Hill Airport, rain and fog were reported. The temperature was 48 degrees, the dew point 48, and the relative humidity 100%. The wind was variable at 5 miles an hour. The pressure was 29.74 inches and falling. At Charlotte, rain and fog were reported. The temperature was 48 degrees, the dew point 46, and the relative humidity 93%. The wind was north at 7 miles an hour. The pressure was 29.75 inches and steady. At Gastonia, light rain was falling. The temperature was 48 degrees. At Monroe, heavy rain and fog were reported. The temperature was 49 degrees. Elsewhere in North Carolina, rain was falling with a temperature of 45 at Shelby and 44 at Statesville. It was cloudy with a temperature of 44 at Hickory, 57 at Fayetteville, and 50 at Asheville. At Greensboro, rain and fog were reported with a temperature of 40 reported with a temperature of 65. Once again at 7 p.m. at the Rockville Airport, it was 48 degrees rain and fog were reported. In Charlotte, it was 48 degrees rain and fog were reported. This is severe weather preparedness week in North Carolina. Families and individuals, as well as employers and other organizations, are urged to use weather preparedness materials to devise their own severe weather safety plan. If you already have a plan in place, you are encouraged to use this opportunity to review your procedures and perform drills and exercises based upon your plan. To support this effort, the National Weather Service, in conjunction with North Carolina Emergency Management, will conduct a safe tornado drill on Wednesday, March 6th at around 9:30 a.m. The National Weather Service will participate in monthly test of the emergency alert system via weather radio for all North Carolina counties at this time. For more information on severe weather, including safety information, visit our website at weather.gov/TXT. This is the River Flood Product for the following companies in South Carolina, Fairfield, and Lexington. The flood warning
Don't want to startle anybody. As come back on live with you here, James Brierton from Charlotte, North Carolina, for continuing Carolina Weather Group alert coverage of severe weather moving across our area today. We still do have a tornado watch up for much of the Midlands and coastal low country of South Carolina here. As you can see, the rain moving on through behind me. We haven't had any warnings in the last half an hour or so at least. And so things are beginning to calm down a little bit. Which is good. So, and as the back end of this rain is now pushing out of Augusta and Columbia and even Charlotte, we'll expect that tornado warning will be cut back a little bit. We will still have it and a slight risk of seeing severe weather for the low country. That extends for the entire South Carolina coast. And then we can't rule out even the chance of seeing some severe weather later on tonight in Wilmington. But as the hours grow on and the atmosphere begins to stabilize some more, chances of seeing that are decreasing. What we want to do right now is we are beginning to get more preliminary information coming in from outside the Columbia area. That seems to be where we have the most significant of the storm reports. We tracked a dozen or so tornado warnings with you on the air this evening, but it is this one in Columbia that has yielded a couple of the preliminary storm reports coming in from the National Weather Service from what is a potential tornado. We won't know for sure until daylight hours tomorrow when the National Weather Service actually makes a trip out there to look at the damage. But a possible tornado is seen in Lexington County at 7:04. Social media imagery shows damage at Red Bank Baptist Church, and they got some trees down in that area. Again, that's 7:04 Lexington County, Red Bank. They've got some damage at a church. We'll see if we can find those photos in a moment. Lexington County, time being 7:20. Public reported top twisted from pine tree and other tree damages on Jana Court, and also back into the Columbia area itself. Any power lines down with heavy damage along Saluda Road. Time estimated based on radar, possible tornado caused damage at 7:18. Again, power lines being down. The other thing we got across the Columbia area since we last talked to you is a flood advisory. And I'm scrolling here on my computer screen trying to find the imagery that I want to show you, which we looked at this camera a couple times tonight from the USGS. And you can see just at the bottom of your screen there's plenty of water running through that waterway there. And so we do have a flood advisory as the environment and the environment in Columbia and elsewhere across the Carolinas is still dealing with all of that rain that just came on through today and saturated areas that already had a ton of rain come on through this week, And the other thing I wanted to try to see real fast is I'm going to do a quick Twitter search for Red Bank Baptist Church because we did obviously, as you saw as well as I in that storm report there, allegedly there are some photos of this online, and we're going to take a quick gander here to see if we can find them. Because certainly right along that interstate is where we had that possible tornado come on through. And again, this will be one of several areas that the National Weather Service from Columbia goes on out tomorrow to take a look at some of this. Let's see here real fast. I'm looking off at our Twitter screen to show you what I've got here. And yeah, I think I've got it. Let me go ahead and pop this up on the screen. I believe this is what the National Weather Service was referring to in their storm report here. We've got a Twitter picture, and if you look very carefully, there's some columns, white columns on the front of the church. One is bent sideways. That is just in front of the door. And I'm going to imagine that there should be another one to the left where that roof angle comes on down, and there doesn't seem to be one there, and I suspect there probably is supposed to be there one. There's another angle of that where you can at least see, although the photo is sideways, that column isn't quite perpendicular either. And again, this is the one beam down, that one structural beam, one leaning, and one missing at Red Banks Church. This is from Evan Dees. That's EDEESE Lex1 on Twitter. So thank you for posting those and sharing them with the news media, as well as our own Chris Jackson. I see you tweeted at Chris Jackson at National Weather Service Columbia as well, and using the hashtag SCWX. So thank you very much, Evan, for relaying that to us. We'll give you a retweet here as well, too. That's another reminder that as you're able to safely go back outside, if you were in an area that was impacted by a storm today, you can use that hashtag SCWX to let the National Weather Service offices in your area know exactly what was experienced. But again, we do have reports of structural damage Trees and power lines down along Lexington County from a possible tornado around the 7 o'clock hour. National Weather Service will be out there tomorrow. They will also be going to Edgefield County, South Carolina, where a possible tornado at about 6:15 brought down some large trees and caused a home to have damage on Woodlawn Road in the Meriwether district. So it seems like those tornadoes that were essentially following the interstate there, leaving behind some damage. We don't have reports of damage from elsewhere in the state in the South Carolina area. We do have outside of Hinesville, Liberty County in Georgia, multiple trees down on US 17. So if for some reason you're watching us from just across the border over there, we do have one reported injury following a multi-vehicle crash, also in Liberty County, Georgia. This was between mile marker 70 and 73 on Interstate 95. Damage included a truck that was hit by storm debris, possibly a tree. A camper was flipped over, and a motorcycle hit a downed tree, and the motorcyclist was injured. That is the unfortunate, perfect example of why traveling during severe weather can be so unfortunate. Because not only do you have high-profile vehicles like that, but you also have a motorcyclist out there, so who are all very susceptible to the elements. So we have at least one injury there, not too far from the Carolinas. We don't have any confirmed injuries yet from storms into the Carolinas, but we are still getting preliminary information back in. We do have the unfortunate headlines still developing out of communities elsewhere in Georgia and in Alabama, where at last count, 14 people are believed to have died from storm-related injuries in the Lee County area of Alabama, between Columbus, Georgia, and Auburn, Alabama, following just some intense tornadoes that moved on through there. We do still have a tornado watch up that's for portions of the Midlands and coastal South Carolina, but we don't have any warnings right now. So what we are going to be doing, as a quick programming note for you here at 8:31, is stopping the live stream on Facebook. We will continue to be standing by here in our Weather Center, and we will be back on the air if we get any more warnings. The likelihood of that is not zero, but it is decreasing as we go through the evening hours. We are pushing about 3.5 hours on this live stream. Facebook caps us at 4, so in the scenario that we need to get back on the air, I don't want to have to run into that in the middle of a coverage, so we will be turning off the live stream on Facebook for now, but we will still be standing by, and we will be back on the Carolina Weather Group and our affiliate pages as severe weather dictates.